The following is a presentation of the ForceCenter podcast feed.
From center of the galaxy, this is ForceCenter Live. I am Ken Napzok, and this man you're about to see is
Joseph Scrimshaw. That's who I am. I am a man with an orange can.
Oh, wait, are we both doing cans today? Welcome to the live show, by the way. The October. Oh, I bumped my camera before I started. The October live Q&A. I think you and I both went the same direction today. What are you drinking?
I have a Tanqueray Seville Orange, a gin and soda. This is something that I bought to take to Hollywood Bowl concerts this summer, and I had one left over, and I didn't have time to mix a drink, and it seemed like a good celebration of the new Star Wars thing we're all loving, the Revnog. This is my orangey Revnog.
Ooh, I like a good orangey or Revnog. Chris Caldwell, like someone would say at a rock concert, "We love you too, man. Love you too." Yeah, I am not a sponsor. None of these are sponsors. I'm drinking an Ashland Seltzer tropical cherry. The reason being, maybe Joseph, you're feeling the same thing I did. We love hanging with you guys. We go for about maybe hour and a half, 2 hours. And last time, no dinner and a lot of whiskey. I think we ended the stream at a good time.
Ended the stream at a good time. And, Friday night, my wife usually gets off of work a little bit earlier. Sometimes she has Friday off. So usually that's when we can have an evening cocktail on the balcony. So oftentimes we finish this and she's like, "You ready to have a cocktail?" I'm like, "I already had 1.5 to 2, but yes, I am."
Yeah,
Responsibly.
So yeah, I got some seltzers warmed up. Yeah, Jay Jude says seltzer's just spicy water. I don't get it. You know what? Jay Jude, I didn't get it for a long time. I totally admit. And at the beginning of the lockdown, the one and only Ash Crossan, who we'll get on the show at some point, her love of White Claw and seltzers transferred to me at a gathering, and I haven't stopped. But you're not wrong. It is just kind of spicy water, which is why I'm here now.
But every liquor, it seems like, that I have made fun of is going up in class. You used to be able to make your easy twist off cap wine jokes. Not anymore. Rosé used to be an easy wine target for a joke. Not anymore. In the seltzers, they're going up there in class.
Yeah, I used to, make a little fun of like Prosecco, something like that. And now that's kind of shot up the charts with the House of the Dragon, Emma Darcy, and their love of the drink and their description of it recently on an interview that went around. So yeah, all drinks come around. If you're out there following, you don't have to drink to watch the show with us. Absolutely encourage you to if you want to. If you don't partake. We are just happy you're all here. This is fun. We go live at this time, and I will say this, Joseph. A lot of our like UK listeners on the Discord and other countries, we're very blessed to have people around the world that catch our shows, are always like, "Man, 4 Pacific is not our time to watch." So we understand. Maybe we'll do a special one down the line. But we do have someone checking in. I saw there checking in. Yeah, Matt Cole's midnight here in the UK, so going to hold on as long as possible. Love what you guys are doing, covered Andor. Matt, thank you so much. Thank you for holding on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to shout out that this is our October live stream. I joked about it on Twitter, and then I decided to do it. I'm wearing my normal Jedi robe, but then just to get in this spooky mood, I also have a cape, a nice vampire cape. Like if Dooku wanted an exquisite cape. I've had this cape for many years, and I have played many vampires in many comedy shows in this cape.
I was going to ask, how many sketches do you think that particular cape has been in its career?
Ooh, yeah, I mean, like this cape could probably get an equity card. It's had so much stage time on live stages. Yeah.
I love that. Brian, our friend Brian Ward is here. Hello. This comment has been DC. I don't want to. Brian and I were just chatting the other day, trying to put some stuff together creatively as well, and we're both just bemoaning TeePublic and all the sites. I get it. I get the rules, but you can't sell anything related to Star Wars without someone coming in and sweeping it off away from your stores. But we'll make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. In the spirit of Halloween, can I share a comment here, Ken?
Oh, please. Yes.
This is coming to us from Michael McCarcel. He's saying just having an energy, I would imagine an energy drink in response to our discussion of alcoholic drinks and zero proof cocktails like an energy drink. Just having an energy because I'm working my haunted house job, but I'm glad I can have you guys in my ear. I'm so fascinated, not fantasized. I'm fantasized by haunted house. I hope not. I'm fascinated by haunted houses. I'm so intrigued by what that job is, and glad to be a small part of it by somebody listening to us talk in a haunted house.
I love this. Michael's one of our longtime listeners here. I also call him Detective McCarcel because he sounds like one of those names. It's like, McCarcel, give me your badge. I don't know what Michael does at this haunted house. Maybe he runs it. Maybe he's the general manager. Maybe he built it. I don't want to presume to know. But I like the idea of him dressed up in a costume, Joseph, and then him jumping out, but kind of being like, oh, yeah, I do agree at that point about Andor. Like, that's what I envision.
Yeah, that would be absolutely great. Yeah, if you can just bust out from around a cobweb corner and quote Mon Mothma saying, smile.
Smile indeed. We take your questions here tonight. Joseph and I both have control of the board. It's like a game show. So if we see a question like, we'll bring it in, we'll highlight it. And also super chats and super stickers and all that stuff are obviously welcome. They help keep the show going, but they're not necessarily needed for the questions. So we'll try to get to all questions asked tonight. But we love hearing from all of you here. There is a one up top where Social Tortoise is this. In honor of Carrie Fisher's birthday, can you guys open the live stream by giving a middle finger to your webcams? You know what, Joseph, we try to stay family friendly around here, but I don't know about you, but I agree to these terms.
Yeah, should we do it on the count of three?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
3,
1, 2, 1.
3. There we go. That's for you,
Perfect.
Carrie.
Perfect comedy.
This is one of the stories I might also share again on our Star Wars adventures on the main show this week. But today, at the time of this broadcast, October 21st, is Carrie's birthday. We talked about it on the news episode this week, looking ahead to that day in history. I was driving around, and I listened to like Apple's shuffle, and so you don't know, you can't control, it just pops up. You get a Lady Gaga song, you got a Lady Gaga song. You got the Dawes song, you got Dawes. Driving around today, going out to on the 210 freeway, not to get to LA Speak. It took a little while to go pick up some meds for a Chihuahua. And what pops up? Princess Leia's theme. Like, come on. Of course that work, right?
That is so great. That is so great. Some of these like anniversaries and days and things like birthdays sneak up on me. But somebody had posted it like a week ago, maybe. And I was like, this is perfect. I have been organizing my action figures. I have had 2 of the Leia from Last Jedi 3 3/4 action figure for, 5 years now. And had one set aside to open. It's like, I wrote it down on my to-do list. I am going to stop what I'm doing in the morning. I'm going to think about Carrie Fisher, and I'm going to open this action figure. And it's there's a lot going on for a lot of people in the world. I've got some different challenges and different aspects of my life going on right now, and thinking about Carrie Fisher and thinking about the way that she used comedy to be extremely honest about problems, but also to have a little bit more of a sense of joy in life, in a sense of hey, this sucks, but we can laugh about it, and that gives us power and that gives us strength. It was really great because it made me feel like I was celebrating Carrie Fisher and celebrating Princess Leia when I opened this new friend on my desktop here.
That's a great one. Cheers to our princess, our general, Carrie Fisher. Yeah, I agree with you on that too. Just speaking about Carrie, when she tragically passed, I had, I will say, an ex-friend of mine on Facebook just post, why are we praising someone like her? She died, drug use, all the kind of stuff. Very dismissive, very offensive. But that to me, it highlighted what all I really did love about Carrie. Yeah, she had all those problems. She struggled from a lot of things. Mental health, bipolar disorder was something that she spoke about often. And I think that made me appreciate her even more because that's something we all struggle with those things. Yeah, you mentioned stuff, your life. I've got stuff in my life, even as we both sit down to record, but able to push past that, own it as best you can, deal with it, hopefully. And, her life was far too short, but I think she lived as she always, wanted to herself. And I just remember that person, again, not a friend anymore. And I was like, delete. But also, you just made a big point on why I value her even more 6 years after her passing.
That is wonderful. That is a great way to celebrate her.
Yeah. And I'll never forget the one moment I had, chance to meet her, like I've told before, her infamous first words to me, "I need to change my pants." Never forget that. I'll never forget
That is so great.
Well, Joseph, any questions or comments popping out to you? And I will say this is exciting. Thank you. The fine folks at StreamYard have finally updated the settings where I can add members. So now Joseph and I can both control the board here tonight.
Yeah. Well, there are some questions, but I want to finish a conversation rather than leaving it dangling. We got an answer from Michael McCarsell here, from Detective McCarsell. Detective McCarsell says, "I used to be an actor, but these last few years I've been working as in-house security, which I understand people can get rowdy in the haunted houses. And I know that Detective McCarsell is bouncing people who are behaving poorly, but it really entertains me if he's like, hey, ghost, you scared that person too hard. All right, time to go. Pass on."
I love that he is more of like the ISB of the haunted house. Like he's investigating, going internal affairs. Like you said there, you're too much of a goblin. You're too much of a goblin.
These goblins are working together now, figuring out like Dead Ramiro.
Love that. Caleb Kirby is checking in from a Taco Bell, or no, reporting with Taco Bell. Oh man, I just had this vision of Caleb sitting down in a Taco Bell restaurant, blaring the speakers loud, watching us eating tacos.
From haunted houses to Taco Bells, we'll be here with you tonight. Now a haunted Taco Bell. I do see a question here. Do you want me to pop it on?
Go for it.
Okay, this comes from Jay John, saying, "I have a question for both, not obligated to answer, obviously. What was your first and last physical media you bought?" That is going to take a little bit of the whirring computer sound. The fan is going to come on in my mind. Yeah,
oh man,
we're talking physical media. I think we're probably talking my first vinyl record of any kind. Would probably be the first physical media that I bought, if we're talking physical media at all, and not like film.
Okay, yeah, I think. Yeah, well, I think and John, clarify if you want. I generally take physical media as like DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff like that. But I like what you're saying, because I think that is actually my answer as well. I do believe the first ever piece of physical media I bought on my own, I had some stuff gifted, obviously parents and stuff like that, cassette tapes, if you remember, was in fact, it sounds cliche, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band on CD. It was the first thing I remember, like, I'm going to go get this.
Yeah. Wow. Then that's on CD?
Yes. So about 87, 88 range.
Yeah, 87. Because I remember that because my parents were telling me about it, and then we didn't get the CD because we didn't have a CD player. But then they must have played me the cassette in that double beat that Ringo plays. Is one of the things that made me want to be a drummer. Of like, I want to sound that cool somehow, some way. But it sticks in my mind because they're telling me about this. It came out 20 years ago, which to my kid mind was like, that was 1,000 years ago. 20 years ago, and then they put on the cassette and it says it was 20 years ago today. Like, what?
That's actually, you just blew my mind. Yeah, I picked that up in 87, 88 range when CDs started to hit the market in full, right? And you're right, it was only 20 years. Yeah. I've been in LA long, 25.
20 years is nothing. Yeah, I think my first physical media, if we define it as vinyl, the first full LP I remember my brother and I went in on was the Stray Cats, Built for Speed. But I believe before that, we pooled our vast resources to get the Weird Al Yankovic 45 of Eat It, his parody of Beat It. I believe that is the first physical media that I purchased with my money, with allowance.
Yeah.
And then like a VHS probably would have been like the first thing that I bought a movie of my own. And actually, come to think of it, I think it was Star Wars, actually.
That would make sense. I'm looking across my shelf at some of the Star Wars. I have the VHS, but I was definitely gifted the original trilogy VHS, original version, gifted to me. I did in about 92, 93, smack dab middle of high school for me. I did, along with my friend Joel, sign up for Columbia House. I did do the 12 VHS tapes for like a cent, and then $10 or $20 the rest of the way.
Yeah. And then okay, yeah. So there was a clarification here. That yes. Here I'm gonna show the clarification. How about Star Wars physical media then? Sorry for the vagueness. No, the vagueness is letting us go off into tangents about ancient music times.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think then, yeah, the probably the special edition VHS set might have been one of my big first physical media purchases on my own.
Yeah, I'm 99% sure that it was the VHS of Star Wars, because my parents were slow to adapt. My brother got a job, I believe, at Dairy Queen for a summer because he was just like, no, no more of this. We're getting a VHS player.
Yeah.
And I believe he bought a Doctor Who VHS tape, and then I bought Star Wars, which at the time it was not special edition. And it was pan and scan, and I didn't know what pan and scan meant. I would have thought that was like a dish you could get at a pizza place. I didn't know what pan and scan was, and I didn't even know when I was watching it. It was
Yeah.
And I walked 20 miles uphill in snow to do it too. Sorry for the
No.
older generation talk, but yeah, that's the truth. And then most recent physical Star Wars media, probably Rise of Skywalker Blu-ray that I bought physically.
Yeah.
There hasn't. If we're talking movies, there hasn't, or in TV shows, right? They haven't done any physical media for Disney Plus, which I think they should.
I think they should. Yeah. I think the same for me, except for wasn't right. You know what's funny? Not Rise of Skywalker, Solo. I have not purchased Rise of Skywalker in physical media form, and I have to, because who wouldn't want to complete that set of Star Wars movies? That's a dangling participle if I've ever heard of one. So yeah, I'm gonna have to correct that. Can I run out to Best Buy? Is that Best Buy? Do they even sell anything at Best Buy anymore? We're gonna head out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They'll sell you a fridge and maybe 2 or 3 Blu-rays.
Yeah. That's a great question. I have a feeling we could literally go all night reminiscing of all the different things we purchased. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Even like occasionally, just for the record or principle, I'll buy a CD of a favorite artist or something. And I have bought some LPs, bought a Liz Fair 25th anniversary edition of Exile in Guyville, that kind of stuff. But nothing even since about 2 years. So
yeah. I got my record player back set up, so I'm getting more vinyl. And with movies and TV shows, I am trying to buy a little bit more because the streaming services are getting so much more into like, oh, is this the perfect time that you would want to watch Wrath of Khan because it's the 40th anniversary? We're taking it off the streaming services. All that kind of stuff is making me be more invested.
I was talking about it with Mark Ellis recently. I might start renting out my DVD copy of Dogma to people who want to watch it, because there's an entire generation of fans who are like, I haven't seen Dogma, because you can't. So I have it. I love Kevin Smith. It's my favorite Kevin Smith movie. The rates will be going up.
This is how Netflix starts again out of your garage. Like, have you heard about this guy who's got one disc of everything and he's sending it to you in the mail in case it's not on Netflix?
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you all for tuning in to our Star Wars podcast. I think the greatest gift you can give to anybody over the age of maybe 25 is just say some things from your past that happened, and then you get to.
Love that. As a follow-up, we got a question coming up here, but I think Jedi Islander's got a great one. First one was the kid's storytelling tape of Return of the Jedi, which I accidentally shoplifted out of excitement. Dragging back to the store to pay for it. Jaylee's got a good one with video games. Hook on VHS. That's a great choice, Jaylee. And most recently, a Lego Skywalker on PS4. I've switched to digital games, but I kind of missed that, like popping open the case and putting the game in.
Absolutely.
We got some super chats coming in. The wonderful Kevin Smets, that's his cousin. Kevin Smets, our dear friend, who apparently I know his last name, has got a super chat question coming in. But I want to get this one here from Boombox Music Talk. We talked about it a little bit on Andor episode 7 discussion. How do you feel the viewing experience would change if you're watching Andor and other Disney Plus series at midnight or later? General
Mm.
question about the release time. You and I will acknowledge again, we're blessed to be on the West Coast, which means these things for us drop at midnight, which isn't too late. And for me, like Rings of Power, Game of Thrones drop like 9 p.m., 6 p.m. my time. Easy to watch those. But I personally have expressed on the last episode of the Andor Report, I just wasn't feeling it this week and stayed up for work and was a little grumpy and got in a bad headspace about the episode. Again, blessed life, worst things to complain about. But to the question, yeah, I wouldn't mind the adjustment of the release schedule for everyone. I don't know. It's impossible to do. We're in a different time, literally different time zones for a different world. So yeah, I'm glad I get to watch it midnight. If it was any other time, I would wait until a later time and our reviews would be delayed.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that there isn't any perfect time with the whole global.
Yeah.
So apologies for being America centric, but I assume that's the way Disney Plus would lead. I think it would be great, since for so many of us who are kind of hardcore and are able to do it, watching it at midnight, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., people are
Right.
staying up and making it event television, and people tweet. That there's no there's no
Yeah.
way you can dislike it, but it's just the truth. So since it's kind of event television for a lot of people anyway, I just wish they'd make it earlier. I wish they would make it.
Mm.
It still wouldn't be perfect for everybody, but make it 9 p.m. East Coast, 6 p.m. West Coast, or however you want to do it in that evening general
Yeah.
span. I think that would be great, since it's already kind of event television anyway. Because to answer the question directly, the times that I can clear my schedule and be well rested, it's real fun to stay up late for the special surprise at the witching hour of
Right.
the new Star Wars. And I've loved it a lot, but man, I've been tired lately. And like this last episode of Andor, I loved it. Hit me. It was electrifying. I enjoyed it, but I honestly, I watched it right away again in the morning, and I was like, I missed some nuance from being tired that
Mhm.
I don't think I would have missed if I watched it at 7 p.m. instead of midnight.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's no big deal. You can watch it twice,
Yep.
but yeah.
When again, it's part of our job, which we're fortunate to have crafted out this section of our own individual careers here to talk Star Wars. But yeah, I feel a little pressure sometimes. Like, got to watch it like 59 seconds. People will text, people will tweet, and I take the personal responsibility and stay off social media until I watch the episode. But then sometimes habit just kicks in. We're all glued to these, and you just pick up your phone. You're like, oh, got it, and it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. Good question.
I got another one here, Ken.
Hit me.
This is from Turtle64224. That sounds like a clone number and a clone nickname. That's great. Turtle64224, ST64224. Hi, Ken and Joseph. Best podcast ever. Thank you very much. Very kind. Love listening to you both and Jennifer as well. We got to see multiple versions of stormtroopers on Andor this week. Yes. What version would you like to see next? Oh,
Ooh.
I feel bad answering this because I feel like I have already been served shore troopers, and they are just about my favorite stormtrooper variant. So I'll think a little bit, Ken. But do you have a trooper style that you're hungering for in Andor?
Yeah, look, I love my biker scouts, my scout troopers. So that sees I see that as fitting. But I'm kind of trying to I'm hopeful for a new class of stormtroopers. And because Andor seems to be going to jail, on an Imperial prison, I want to see prison guard troopers. I don't know what they look like. But I want to see them. I definitely
This is so great, because I was thinking the exact same thing, because I love Andor. I love all the compliments. It is zeroing in on specific ideas of Star Wars and just fleshing them out in great detail. But I think it is still being Star Wars. And one very Star Warsy thing is, new location, new troop. Here you go. I would love to see that Star Wars tradition pop up in Andor of here's a new trooper. My joke one that I've said before people who live in snowy areas might be familiar with this. In Minnesota growing up, there's the snow and it's fresh and white, and then it gets dirty immediately, and then it stays that way for 6 months. And it's a combination of snow and dirt that growing up people would refer to as snert. And I've always wanted to see a snert trooper, kind of a snow trooper, but just
Yeah.
gross dirt. There's a brown thing on your shoulder, and we don't know exactly what it is. It's half buried in the snow. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it. It's a snert trooper.
I love that because that's like the equivalent of those Wobani stormtroopers I love in Rogue One who are just depressed and out of it trying to finish their shift, or the Mimban mud trooper kind of variant. That'd be great.
Yeah, I love the Mimban troopers. Those are great too.
Do they know they're snert troopers? Like, oh damn it, I got to sign snert. Like, do they know?
It'd actually be funny if that was like an in joke, right? Like if they were supposed to be snow troopers, but it was just a dirty, dirty snow planet. I want Andor to go to a dirty, dirty snow planet and meet technical snow troopers who are jokingly called snert troopers. They're like, hey.
I love that. I love that. Amazing. Let's get to this question here from Kevin Smets, the Smasher. I never caught you guys' thoughts on Rise of the Resistance, the ride at Disneyland. How was your first experience of that? You guys rule. Love you both. Kevin, we love you. Kevin is one of the nicest folks out here in this hellhole of a town. We're sometimes Kevin's great. So did you finally get the chance to? Because the first time you didn't, right?
I did. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I actually had, I think, what was for me an ideal experience, because I've heard of people going to Disneyland or Disney World, Disneyland in particular, not getting in or whatever. So my wife and I paid for the lightning lane, the goofy tax, whatever the number of things that they've made up to get
to get on Donald Duck water tax.
Yeah, it volunteered for the Pluto punishment, whatever they wanted to do, so I could get on Rise of the Resistance. And it worked. My wife and I got on right away, and it was one of those things of like, it broke down, and then you're like, well, hover around, and then the second it opened up. So we skipped the line entirely, went straight into the ride. I thought the ride was amazing. I'm always want to be kind of careful about, I know a lot of people know the story, but just in case the spoilers, I think they did a good job of introducing new characters and giving it some heart, but putting you in this position where you really felt for the Resistance, that the way you were cast, you were motivated to be like, I know I'm on a ride and I can't control this, but I feel really good about what I'm doing. And then just the physical mechanics of it, to actually give you the correct inertia for stuff and movement. Amazing. So that was great. And then my wife and I tried to watch one of the parades later at night, and we were buried in the crowd. And I looked at my little list on the phone there, and it said Rise of Resistance, 42-minute wait time. And I told my wife Sarah, and she's like, "Let's go right now." So we went. And we waited in the line, and it was one of those great reminders for me that the lines can get tedious after a while, and the narrative in the lines is there to keep you engaged, but also sometimes the narrative does make the ride insanely better, in my opinion. And going through the line where you basically go through the base that Vi Moratti and friends gave their heart and soul and blood to build, it really amped up the stakes of the story. So I was really glad that I got to experience it both ways. They just get to the ride. And I think if I was going again, I'd be like, I want to wait in the line a minimum of 45 minutes.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. My only time on the ride was back in March in 2020, which 2 days later, Disneyland was closed for a very long time due to the pandemic. And it was a rainy day, beautiful day. Got there early morning, but hit Batu about 8 a.m. Sun was shining. Took a great picture of the Millennium Falcon, posted that. And then the rain, we got into the ride of the Millennium Falcon. That was great. Came out and it started raining, and it never stopped raining till like 6 p.m. that night, to the point where me, Grace, and our friends left the park at like 2:30. And it was so cold and rainy, and it's so just never stopped. Such a consistent rain. We were miserable. And I had a 10 a.m. appointment at Olga's, and I'm like, I do love a good drink. 10 a.m. I had to like stuff down. But the joy was there. And then, but it was starting to wane. And the last thing we had to do was Rise of the Resistance. And there was that one moment of, maybe we should just not, and then get out of here. And now let's do it. Let's do it. We're here. We're here. We're here. And man, I'm so glad I did, because there is truly a magic to it. The first part of it, again, I don't want to spoil for anyone who hasn't experienced it, even all these years later. Yeah, that opening part where you're in that one little thing that takes you to the other thing, and then it felt so real. I was like, this is a great ride. And then the doors open. It was like, oh no, there's like the actual ride still in front of you. I would have been happy with that. I truly was. Pulled into the world. You walk into that First Order hangar, stormtroopers around, and I wanted to jump in. I wanted a full long form improv it. Like I would have totally acted out of the part. I was pulled into it. And I know you have a great story of like experiencing some people just being too normal around the characters in the ride, where I'm like, no, we all got to play along. We got to play along. But yeah, it was magical. So Kevin, great question. I want to experience it again on a day when I'm dry.
Yeah, I was so into it, and I am a proud Resistance member, and they won't break me, and I'm defiant. And then other people are like, so Susie said you're getting your haircut tomorrow. I'm like,
What are you doing? What are you doing? We're in Star Wars land. So there you go. Great stuff. Great stuff.
Very, very good one. I was getting too lost in thought, so I'm scrolling around here to do my due diligence of grabbing some questions here, Ken.
No, it's good. While you're doing that, I'll shout out some non-question super chats. GGB, we appreciate that. Thank you very much. JJN followed up with a thanks for answering. We appreciate that. We've got some more questions. Boombox Music Talk, which I almost read as Boombox Music Tax, because it's on my mind because of the goofy tax you created. Matthew Stokes as well. We appreciate the support. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely great. Okay. Okay, here we go. Here's one from Rednax 42. Don't panic. Excellent. Hitchhiker's Guide reference.
Yes.
Reference. A thing blatantly, explicitly from it. An Easter egg. The cover of most editions of the book. I'm surprised no one has commented on the parallels and differences between Jyn and Andor being gifted Kyber crystal necklaces, one out of love, the other as a transaction. Thoughts? I think that is a great pull. I think one of the things for me that's wonderful about Andor is having and a lot of Star Wars, but Andor in particular. Andor is very, very dense. Lots of characters, lots of parallels to be made. So I love hearing all people's different ones. I was kind of focused on other issues in ideas and meanings of that Sky Kyber. So I hadn't thought of that, and I think that's a really, really great and interesting connection. What do you think, Ken?
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful way to look at it too, and how it inspired or affected Jyn in a different way. And then to have Cassian, clearly it's important to him. There might be, because it's a monetary value attached to it, but it's not that he's going to cash that out. I think it's the reason he's there, and who knows, maybe there's a little bit, it's transactional, but maybe there's a little bit more meaning in his heart, and he hasn't accepted that yet. Maybe that's part of his journey. But he does, mean to, gives it to Val to return to Luthen, right? At the end?
Yeah, he gives it to Val, yeah.
Yep. So I think it's a different way to look at it, indeed. But I'm like you, there's so many other things at play. I think there's a couple little beats in the show so far that we haven't taken that deep dive discussion into yet. This is probably one of them, but I like that idea. It's very, it's just, I guess you could say it's intentional, right? I mean, they know they're doing it. Gilroy and team know they're doing it. So we'll see if it comes into play in any other kind of way. But I love the connection between Jyn and Cassian over that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that's intriguing to me about the Kyber is it seems like relatively cold, relatively brutal Luthen. Although I do think he has his misgivings. I love that shot in the most recent episode where he is very firm that we have to take all these actions, but then that doubt and pain in his eyes as Mothma is leaving, which makes me think that he is very committed, but he also knows the cost. That Kyber crystal that he has seems closer to the way Jyn has her Kyber crystal, that it is a symbol of something perhaps lost, right?
Yeah.
He has access to lots of antiquities. This one is personal. It's financially valuable, but like the way he told Andor, like, its value to me is, far beyond whatever number of credits, thousands of credits. So I like that connection between Jyn and Luthen. And I think the interesting thing to me about Andor is I feel like he is a character on the move, even in this most recent episode, where he's like, what do we have to take? Just the three of us.
Yeah.
Jin's Kyber is what she has left of her mother, and arguably her father as well, but is her mother who gave it to her. And right now, Cassian doesn't have an emblem like that because he still is holding on to nothing but the people. He can't hold on to a job, a coat, a blaster,
a droid,
a droid. Yeah, he holds on to his people right now, and that I think he's in alignment with Jin. For Jin, that Kyber crystal is what she has of her people.
Love that. Yeah, great. Rednecks 42. Great question, thought starter. Love that there. This question coming in here from Caleb Kirby, again, inspired by Ken's hat and a jacket I'm getting patches for. Despite it being fantasy, do you ever hesitate to wear Imperial or Sith stuff in public? Joseph, do you? I'll share part of my experience, which I think I've shared on the podcast before, but it's a great spot to answer it again. But what about you? I know you got a Jedi robe on, but you do have a Dracula cape on now. So
I do have a Dracula cape. Yes, absolutely. I used to have more Sith stuff. I've talked about in the past when Phantom Menace came out. I had a baseball cap that I wore backwards, even though Guns N' Roses and Axl Rose, frontman with the backwards baseball cap, had faded from all cultural relevance by that point for the most part. I wore it backwards because like, I thought that was cool, in the early 90s. But it said Sith Lord on the front, and it has the double-bladed lightsaber, and then over, the opening in the back, I'll let Ken use the technical terms for baseball caps. Over the opening, it said, "Jedi do not concern me."
Yeah.
I wore it mostly out of like comedy. I didn't think it was an actual like good fashion statement in any way, shape, or form. I just really like the idea that like Maul maybe made this merch. Like TeePublic didn't exist at the time, but like, did Maul want this out there? Like, hey, look, this is how much Jedi don't concern me. I have a baseball cap that says so. I don't know how I'm going to wear it over my horns, but I want other people to know Jedi do not concern me. It felt like you're protesting a little bit too much, Maul.
Too much.
And I love that hat. It's one of the few things that I've really kept track of. It's in my closet. I could put it on. I'm not gonna this broadcast. Maybe later, but
maybe later.
I don't have a ton of Sith stuff, partially just because my closet is overflowing with black T-shirts with an emblem on them, and I just want the Rebel symbol. I want the Jedi symbol. That's where I'm leaning.
Yeah. No, that's I'd love. We got to break that hat out, and I think I just call that the hole as well in the hat. So the snapback section. I don't know the technical term there. Yeah, for me, and it's funny, I'm wearing this today. I have this, and I've never really worn it. And one of the reasons it's actually really thick, you can see the sweat dripping down my face right now. Bad decision on my part. I don't have a Rebel one yet. Yeah, so for years I had the Imperial hat. I loved it. I got it in about 2014, 2015 when I was leaving the old job, in which I was discouraged from expressing my nerd loves through clothing or memorabilia. So I found it. I was so excited. I wore baseball hats my whole life, played baseball, love them, have my Yankee hats, all those kind of things. But it was so, even though they'd been around for a bit, it was so exciting and novel to have a Star Wars baseball cap. Like I couldn't believe I had one. Mm-hmm. And I got the Imperial one because, they have the cooler toys. And I felt that was true growing up, just like Cobra and G.I. Joe. Cobra had the cooler toys, and I collected those. There's meanings behind them, but it was just kind of, that's what it was. You said it so well. That used to mean wearing an Imperial hat was a Star Wars conversation starter. Oh, you like Star Wars. I feel as pop culture has gotten more important and pop culture affects more lives it's always meant things, but it means more now, or at least it's more apparent. Yeah, after 2016 and Rogue One, even Carrie's untimely death with the election in America in 2016, without a doubt, Rogue One and the ideas of rebelling, the ideas of some of the stuff meant more and meant more to people. And I, over the years, just it meant more to me too. But there was an exchange, a moment I had in a local coffee shop I go to. Someone, I can get a little defensive and think everyone's looking at me and judging me. But we had this woman looked at my hat and noticed it and kind of rolled her eyes and scoffed. And I was like, you know what? This doesn't represent me either anymore. So I have switched to Rebel gear. The unfortunate thing is it's harder to find Rebel gear, especially black hat, white emblem. The one I wear on stage for comedy shows. It's faded and a little stretched out. I can't replace it. The New Era 39 style hat, it's sold out everywhere. So I'm literally at a loss. I was even telling Joseph off air the other day when we were starting to record. I was like, I'm trying to find a hat. I can't find a new hat. So I don't know what I'm going to do. But yeah, no, it's and it's still fun. Like, look, Gabe, I'm a Stannis Baratheon fan of Game of Thrones. I have Stannis Baratheon shirts. I'll put on a quote villain shirt every now and then. Grace has a great Darth Maul hat. Like, I don't necessarily think you need to have it mean everything, but without a doubt, as a Star Wars fan, I want to represent myself in the best way possible if it's going to get a conversation started out there. So that's just my take on it.
Yeah, and I mean, I still love collecting villain stuff. I collect action figures, poster stuff, and all that. I think I would probably wear like a Palpatine shirt if it had an element of comedy to it. Like I love that you're so evil it's almost over the top. It's why I love the Funko Pops. Or I almost only want villains who would be mad that they are Funko Pops.
Yeah. Brian Ward and those hats like $50. Oh, that's one thing that I routinely wear that I will say is associated with a villain. It's my Brian Ward Roll It Again Palpatine t-shirt.
True, I do have that. There you go. I already own what I was describing, a Palpatine related comedy shirt.
There you go. Question coming in. If you got one, Joseph, but I want to highlight.
You go for it.
Matthew Stokes with a very generous super chat. We appreciate that. Helps keep the show going. It truly, really, actually does. And I visit because I love Star Wars. I stay because Ken, Joseph, and Jen are the Star Wars bubble we all need. Hey, climb into the bubble.
Very kind. Bad. Yeah, join us in the bubble. I sometimes get distracted when I'm looking for questions because I see a conversation going back and forth, and I'm like, ooh, intriguing. oh, good point. Yeah.
No, you guys are great. And if we, by the way, super chats are easy to see, obviously. But if you ask a question that's non-super chat and maybe the chat is rolled up a bit, don't be shy. Ask it again so we can see it and not have to scroll up. Don't be shy about that. It's not that we're not taking your questions. Sometimes it just kind of rolls up the chat bar there.
Yeah. So I do have another one here, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
Ken, it's from Ken. It's our friend Ken Plume asking an action figure question, which is just heaven. Just great. Ken Plume says, what unannounced Andor figure would you most like? That is great because they've actually done a pretty good job compared to, comparatively, I think, between Black Series and Vintage of rolling out a couple different characters. There is a Vel coming out and that kind of thing. So, Ken, do you have an unannounced character who is just burning in your mind?
I'll sneak in a kind of more of a real one and one that's just Ken-centric. Me, not Ken Prime, asked the question. Ken, me. Have they released or announced a Deidre Miro one yet?
I don't think so.
I would really love that because, as we highlight every week, it's so weird in this show in particular, talk about Imperial iconography. It's so weird to find myself rooting for Deidre every week.
Yeah, no, there's a Vel and a Bix, and one is Black Series and one is Vintage, and I don't have that one memorized.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, right now it's like, kind of, I want so many, but on the one that jumps to my mind immediately is the deluxe time grappler with hammers and metal sheet. I hope the time grappler appears again. To me, the absolute MVP of that first trailer. So essential to what made those first couple of episodes of Andor really great and powerful to me. That picture of how this person, this sound is a symbol of a specific culture in the way this community unites. And then on top of it, just the damn Star Wars weirdness I love. Just gruff, serious guy who's like, it is time for me to let people know it is time to go to work. So I will do a mixture of what appears to be yoga and like I'm in the cast of Stomp, and I will take it very seriously. And it's both like silly, absurd, and dead serious, dead cool at the same time. So I need to celebrate that in plastic form.
I love that one. A lot of great answers coming here, including Brian Ward saying battle damage Tim Carlo figure. That would be great, like the old He-Man figures. A major part of Gaz is the other one. I mean, I'm such a Anton Lesser fan, and I love his work in this show as well. So that'd be great. Yeah, and then James Farley, Niamos arrest would make a great cinema scene. Cassian with those sandals, the short trooper and enforcer droid. Can we also push for shower Cassian? Like,
Oh,
shower Cassian.
yeah.
It'd be Keith Grigo shower version.
Keith Gergo, yeah.
Gergo.
Oh my god, you squeeze his legs and the water runs down his torso. Oh my god,
It
yeah.
comes
Keith
with
Gergo.
little Pizos and Revnog.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been so. I mean, like, yeah. The thanks for the cinema scene joke. I know I go on and on about them on the show, but I love those cinema scenes, those 3-packs. You know, I would love Cyril and Edie Karn, and the third figure is the action figure. I think there's one Mothma that's been announced. I believe a Black Series, but I want every Mothma outfit in every scale. The outfits have been great. She's been great, but this scene this week is just fire.
Yeah, I agree with that. So many options. Yeah, and it's funny, we're making jokes, but man, this is what I do miss about the old days of Star Wars, the Kenner run, or even a lot of the Black Series runs. And you and I've talked, bemoaned that we understand the toy industry's change, we get it, but man, Time Grappler would have been an absolute Kenner 3 3/4. Absolutely would have happened.
Oh yeah, like how could you get through this without doing the Time Grappler? Come on.
Yeah. I love this comment going back and related to the figures thing and Ken's question. Jaylee says, "Fed a Black Series figure in the wild for the first time in a while, and was Ewok Village Leia. Now my 4th one of her." Jaylee, I love that. I love when you're out and about, you're buying laundry soap and maybe a frozen burrito for me. And you turn the corner and there's like, oh, a figure I need. I almost got the Mando with Grogu Ice Spider Black Series figure because I turned the corner at my Target and it happened to be there. I held off for budgetary reasons, but I know that wonderful feeling.
Oh, Nemec and Dr. Quadpaw. Those are the other ones that it's like, I know I have some demands. Nemec, with the manifesto data pad and the tracker unit that allows you more freedom, his pre-Apple device for sure. And Dr. Quadpaw, the hours of fun posing.
I love the middle hands when he's just when he like raises his hands first when he sees Cassie with the blaster, like, oh,
go for it, and then he uses the one to gesticulate. Yeah,
love it. Great question there from Ken Plume here.
All right.
More questions coming in here. Now I am scrolling along here. Shout out to all of you watching live. Thank you. Oh, Alden Diaz wants a Marva Andor figure, please. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Fiona Shaw figure would be awesome. That would be cool. A couple questions coming in here. I love this question from Brendan Misklemar. We'll always answer this as respectfully as possible as two gentlemen in long-term loving relationships. What is your Star Wars crush? What is your Star Wars crush?
Oh, wow.
I mean, gosh, without a doubt, for me, our princess, our general, Hoth Leia, is what I was looking for in a partner all my life. I found it, but that come on, that our generation was greatly influenced by that. A lot of people were.
Yeah, no, I mean, yes, Leia was formative on every level, in a good, positive way. Bespin Escape Leia is the moment that where she's at and taking charge and sensing Luke and all that. That's great. Being respectful. The Mothma scene was like, I really want to use respectful words because I think there was just something to me that was charged in that scene. I really feel like there was an element of, she had that amazing quote of show them the stone so they don't see the knife in your hand. And I feel like there was a legitimate intimate connection between Tay, that they went way back, and that there's maybe it'd have been great if I could have married Tay, but I had to marry Starin Perrin, is Ken called him. I had to marry Starin Perrin for some reason. So like there's this level of real intimacy, right? Yeah. And then like it feels like the stone she's trying to show is like I want all these people to just think we're having an affair. And
Yeah.
that's what they'll talk about. Not what are they talking about? What does she need a banker for? So I think there's like these levels of intimacy, and then like the real actual for real intimacy that is happening with
Mhm.
the I am trusting you with my life. We're having this dance to see if we can commit, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, so it's a tense and amazing scene on many levels. And it also is just sort of like, I think that's the sexiest Star Wars scene. I know for a lot of people,
Yeah.
it's Andor's shower and his promise to go to Space 7-Eleven to pick up the Pizzos and the Revnog. But for
Yeah.
me, there was an element of that Mothma scene, and
Yeah.
I talked to my wife about it right afterwards, and I was like, "Check this for me. Am I wrong?" And she's like, "No, that's
Yeah.
totally there." Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's it. I mean, when we watched the episode after our review, Grace finally got to see it, and that scene ended. She just went, "Phew," that was a great scene. It really was on so many levels. Yeah, there along the way. Look, I love Zori Bliss. Carrie Russell's great. I love Tally Lidtra. I have those armful little crushes too. But at the end of the day, it's probably Major Partagas. It's probably Major Partagas.
To have those sweet words whispered in my ear. Thesis, please.
Thesis, please. Thank you for the lively session.
Yeah. I think there's a thing also with like this era of Mon Mothma. When my wife needs to be professional,
Yes.
she's got amazing posture because she's a dancer, and it's like
Yeah.
everything is all contained, and yet
Love that.
the power and the fire underneath is there. So I think there's a
Yeah.
little bit of like, yeah,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
probably enough honesty from my gin and soda. I'll stop myself.
Yeah, no, it's great stuff. Great question, Brennan Moore there. So this is this is this is related to our previous question about the figures, but I just saw Trey type in Cyril's mom, of course, which
She has got it going on for sure.
yes, I intuit, Trey. I intuit things. Yes, yes.
What do you think this caller is saying? Great. I am looking back around the earlier part. There was a good question. Oh, here's one from our friend Brian Ward a little ways back. What is your fave Star Wars Halloween costume if you've ever done one? Ken, I know you're not like necessarily a huge Halloween person across the
Mm,
board.
mm-mm,
Did you do costumes as a kid, or was that one of the things that
mm-mm.
was nope?
Oh, no, I don't sin, Joseph. I don't do the devil's witchery. No, I did do a couple. No, we always had a Western theme at our church's Hallelujah Hoedown down the street, which was a lot of fun. So I did that a lot. But no, I think when I found my first actual costumes, 5th and 6th grade, back-to-back years, I went as Pee Wee Herman.
Hmm.
Was greatly influenced by Pee Wee. Eventually went to the Groundlings because Paul Rubens, among the reasons Paul Rubens has gone there. So, yeah, that and then that is it. That was it until that was 1987, and that was it until 2009, where I dressed as Rowdy Roddy Piper. Ironically, 4 months before I met him and began working with him for a short while. So that was it. I've dressed up 3 times in my life, just 3 times.
Amazing.
None of it Star Wars.
Amazing. You're right. It is very distracting as I scroll through and I'm seeing people just shut out character names, and I honestly don't know if they're a crush or an action figure or both. So great.
Daddy Wan Kenobi, both.
So, Ken, do you have a desire to dress up for Halloween, a Star Wars one in specific, or is it something that you're like, that's cool, I'll dress up if I'm doing a show or if I'm acting in
Yeah.
something, but you don't have a desire to do it just socially?
Yeah, no, if someone I really love the 501st type of folks and I love going to the conventions and some radishes I see. I'm like, man, but like I wouldn't want to do it at a convention because I am always aware of any kind of bathroom needs, and those costumes seem to step in the way of that. And don't do that. But I wouldn't mind. I would like to once maybe wear a Star Wars cape. So even if it's as simple as like Krennic, not saying that I want to idolize Krennic, but I would like to walk around in his outfit and his cape and just go, oh, it's beautiful. I could do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's nothing like being peeved in a cape. There's nothing like, did I get passed over for a promotion with your cape? Um, yeah, I did a couple years back. I believe 2017. We ended up with a kind of decently full social calendar of events, and I love Halloween and I love dressing up, but I have a little bit of a hang up about it because I am so used to back in the day dressing up a lot for theatrical shows in comedy sketches, and it weirded me out to be like, well, I'm a vampire, but I'm just sitting around talking about television. I'm not doing any bits. So I had to get over that. In the costume that I ended up making is I didn't have my own Jedi robe, so a friend let me use theirs, and I got Luke's lightsaber to put on my belt, and then I just made a little sign out of cloth that said "Very Basic Jedi." So I wasn't trying to be any Jedi. I was just a very basic Jedi,
I like
and
that.
and I really enjoyed it because I like the super conceptual costumes, but I didn't want to go that conceptual. But it's enough to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, love that. That's great stuff. My thing, I just are we blind? Deploy the candy. Great answers here coming in. Crick's mating cosplaying for my award. I love
Ooh,
this one
yeah.
from Social Tortoise. I was a pod racer, Anakin, when I was a little. The next year, I repurposed the desert clothing for Padawan Kenobi, pair with his fundamental lightsaber. That's beautiful.
Oh, nice. Yeah, actually, if I was gonna do one now, I would like to do meat cutting Kenobi.
Meat cutting Kenobi would be brilliant.
Shibadon Station, I believe, is the action figure. Anyway.
Jaylee, like me, never allowed to trick or treat, but as a kid, dressed up as AOTC Obi-Wan for 3 state Halloweens. Oh, that's a great. You got to get that
Yeah.
mullet right, huh? That's beautiful.
Yeah. That is great.
That's awesome. Awesome. Good question coming in there from our good pal Brian Ward. Check out his T Public shop and get shirts for your not costumes. Just wear the shirts instead. Ben Potter has a question here. Like a comics comic. That's a great description. I understand what you mean there. We'll talk about that. Who do you think would be a Jedi's Jedi? As in, what Jedi would an other Jedi love to work with besides the obvious Obi-Wan Kenobi? That's a great question, Ben. Joseph, any answers come to mind there? I'm trying to think of a real world example of like a comics comic, but it can be specific to your tastes and desires as comedians or the clubs you work at, all that kind of stuff. But that's a great way to look at it there.
Yeah, like a good comedian, let me start talking without an answer and see what one comes out. The reason that I gotta do a little bit of a brain worrying is because I kind of do think that's Obi-Wan Kenobi's role, and I don't. And
Yeah.
Ben's rules are very clear, but I like that about it because like there's people like Dooku who are like, really, everybody's so big on this guy, and Anakin is jealous, and we see that like Obi-Wan doesn't always come out on top, right? But I think he's a Jedi's Jedi because he's got this good balance of like relatively strict sticks to the rules, doesn't break them too much, and when he does, it's bend and it's for a good purpose, and he's just centered and grounded and doing what he needs to do. So I think that's that. Like, oh man, I think for some Jedi, like they're Jedi that are really powerful, they're Jedi that are really wise. Obi-Wan's like this sweet spot. He's got it both. So I think there's that. I'm gonna fall back on a Jedi that I love, but I would like to think that in his day, Tara Sinube was a Jedi's Jedi.
Yeah.
Of like, a little bit weird, a little bit different, not flashy, so people are not like, okay, yeah, he wasn't the one who saved this planet from this catastrophe, but he's just solid. He's always there.
That's a great answer. Trying to run down the list. Sometimes just comes down to the Jedi you love. Social Tortoise got a great answer here of where to go there. It went Kit Fisto, alias Kara Plo Koon. I think Kit Fisto would serve that role. He's got a nice demeanor. He's got a lot of skills, specific set of skills. So he's good in a water fight. You know that. I think there's something about his demeanor, and I think when I think of the term comics comic, it's one of the ones that maybe isn't the biggest, most known comic in the world, right? But it's the one that the comics stay in the back of the club to watch, watch them play with it, play with the audience, or just watch their specific brand of material. So maybe, and I still think kind of Kenobi would fall into that, by the way. But yeah, I saw Kit Fisto is a great example. I was gonna go even High Republic to like Porter Engle. Now seems more like a Jedi's Jedi, but we're gonna see him in his prime. We'll see if that changes, because he could be a little higher on the food chain, so to speak. But I like the older stew making Porter who's just kind of like, yeah, let's hang out. Want to get a beer after the show? Like that kind of seems like the answer as well. A lot of wonderful choices.
Yeah.
There's so many Jedi that they're all pouring into my head
in the different order. You know what? Looking at comic in a different way, because sometimes the way I think of comic is, the one that if you know the work, that person is really good, but they're not hitting with the public, right? They're not splashy enough. They're never getting the sitcom or the big concert tour because people, the average person doesn't see the value. So thinking about it that way, I'm going to go with a Jedi that I don't think about very much, and that is Saucy Tin.
Oh, yeah.
By all respects, we should be talking about him all the time, right? He's on the High Council, one of the chosen to go take Palpatine. Didn't go well for him. But there's got to be something real special about Saucy Tin that the Jedi Council knows that, at least in modern canon, maybe he's got some great stuff in Legends I don't know about, but the Jedi Council knows something about Saucy Tin that I do not. And one of them is how to say his name, because who knows?
I say yes. I say Tin. I said Tin. Yeah, no, that's a great answer. That's a good one there. Yeah, because it's like, because the other side of it is like Ki-Adi-Mundi. I wouldn't say, and I no disrespect to Ki-Adi-Mundi stands out there, but he just seems like he's be annoying as bleep in a car. If you're driving around patrolling in him, he'd just be like a kind of a know-it-all. Just kind of, I don't know. The energy's off. Mace, God bless him. Mace, you don't want to work with Mace. Yeah. So I think I've seen Chad another great Brent says Loading Greatstorm. Rest in peace. I think that's a solid answer too.
Yeah, Ki-Adi-Mundi, I think, makes a lot of noise. I think he is well known. He's visually distinctive. He is very loud with his opinion. I love this idea that he would have a show, like, Jedi in hover cars getting opinions from Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Love that there. Great question. Love the good questions. They're coming in hot and heavy. So anyone jump to you, sir?
Yeah, we got a very kind super chat from a little ways back here from GGB, who says, how much time do you think Fett spent with the Tusken of the Dune Sea? A month, a year, even more? Thanks, guys. You are awesome. Love ForceCenter. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think this is a great question, because I think there was some clarity where there needed to be that he'd been out in the desert and alone for a while by himself after the tragic attack on the Tuskens of the Dune Sea. Yeah, I kind of feel like each little section we saw was a significant chunk of time. Like, he got out of Sarlacc relatively quickly, or he would have been acid, right? And then I think that he's put out in the desert, he comes back, he's accepted at a certain level. And then we jump to episode 2, and I think a long time could have passed. I think a month could have passed then, right? As he gets more accepted. And then once he's actually fully at the end of that second episode, fully gone through all of the appropriate trials to be a part of the community, then I think there could be another good solid chunk of time there.
Yeah, I it's been a while since the show rewatch. I'm about to do a Book of Boba Fett rewatch only on principle because of an argument I got in with someone off microphone, one of my friends, where I was defending that show perhaps too feverishly and furiously on a hike. I don't want to put. I
never talk about Star Wars in a high place.
You never talk about Star Wars on a hike. You only gossip about your friends on hikes. You don't talk about Star Wars. I about a yearish time for me. It's an investment, and I like thinking of it in those terms. That it took a while. It took a while, and that when he was ready, he was ready.
Yeah,
great stuff. Great stuff, GGB. All right, got another one here from as I call him, Ken Prime. And Ken, I'll update you this. I've gotten as far as looking at the Fortnite screen to download it to my PS5. That's as far as I've gotten so far. Inside joke. Ken asks, Ken, what other GOT actors would you like in Star Wars? I'm going to hope that Joseph's allowed to answer this too.
Nope. I'm out.
Can't there. This always comes up. I'm a unapologetic Game of Thrones World of Ice and Fire fan, warts and all times. And so there's so many, Maisie Williams is a character. I'd love to see Charles Dance do anything. Those are answers I've given before. Having now, no spoilers at all, House of Dragons finale is this weekend. It's been spoiled online thanks to a leaked episode. Man, I love the internet sometimes. Paddy Considine, who's playing King Viserys Targaryen, the first, King Viserys the First, just brought so much to the role, and even to where George R. Martin publicly has now said his Viserys better than my Viserys. And there's a warmth to it, but there's a sadness, there's a bittersweet, there's a tragic good man, bad king vibe going on, but not in, say, Robert Baratheon at one point might have been a good man, but drank his way out of that position. But there's a tragedy to this person who kept peace, but wasn't able to maybe maintain it generationally. And to see him as a Jedi, even I don't want to put it too similar like Kenobi and Kenobi's journey, but post Order 66 and the fall of the Republic with a lot of bittersweet. Maybe you could put it other parts in time. Maybe it doesn't have to be a Jedi. He has such warmth in his brokenness, and it's such a good performance that I'd love to see him jump into the Star Wars world.
Yeah, I can't wait to dig into House of Dragons. Check it out. My answer is going to be pretty straightforward, and that's Peter Dinklage. I think he's a phenomenal actor, but the range to be able to have just that heartbreaking depth that Tyrion has, and that wry wit, is such a great combination. And I would love to see him play a Jedi of some era, who is struggling, because he plays that so well, and using comedy to struggle. And then also, like, just one of the things I like about Peter Dinklage, he's one of these actors who is really wanting to build from the genre success he's had. He has his own production company. So the more large scale, large visibility projects he's in, the more cool stuff he can make with his production company.
Yeah, that's great stuff. Great stuff. Answers covered it. Alden Diaz, of course, works with me over on Casterly Talk, where we're going to break down the finale this weekend. Natalie Emanuel, Richard Dormer, Lord Beric Dondarrion. That voice alone belongs in Star Wars. Carice Van Houten, who I love as Melisandre, and House of Dragon, Emma Darcy. And I definitely agree with that. Look, here's the thing. There's just so many great actors in these properties that it makes sense. Our list could go on and on and on. James Farley is this one. It is a Game of Thrones actor, but he's also in Rings of Power. Joseph Maul is Adar in Rings of Power. He's Uncle Benjen in Game of Thrones. He just hit some, for me, I love Rings of Power. He hit some levels, man. He is coded as a villain, but you kind of find yourself rooting for him. And it is his performance, his words, his actions, even the way he walks and moves. I just absolutely love that. That's a great answer too.
Yeah, that's great. And
love it.
Given time, all of them will happen.
Yes, yeah. Nina Gold, who will cast Crossbow. That's why you see so much crossover in Star Wars.
Yeah. Here's one from a little ways back, Ken. Scott Glick says chances of seeing the former Jedi Temple Imperial Palace in Andor would seem fitting given all the Coruscant we're getting. Oh man, I would love that. I'm trying to think of the scenario, right? That it would make sense, because Andor is really a show where you're not doing it unless it's narratively needed. Does Dedra Miro's journey of trying to rise up in the Empire bring her to Palpatine's inner chamber? Not even necessarily the former Jedi Council chamber, but just in that building. Does Mothma get too close to something and end up in that building? Or, like, man, it'd be great, Mothma and Bail having a whispered conversation in an alcove of the defiled Jedi Temple. I think for me that the chances are just totally, it's 50-50, because if the narrative required it, we'd go there. I don't think Andor is shying away from being Star Wars, but we're not going there unless there's a real strong narrative way to be there. And I really want to see it in live action.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to say that this is a high percentage pick for me. I don't think currently. We'll see what the second season goes. And you're right,
Mm.
how things spin out of control and how the plot races towards the Rogue One timeline. Like, yeah, it would make sense more. I don't think season one's going to be the case. It's interesting and loving and celebrating what Andor is doing. Dan Larson of Toy Galaxy, a channel I watch if you like figure history and show and even serial history. Dan's channel is great. He put a tweet out. I forget exactly, and he was like, Rogue One, or excuse me, Andor has done such a good job of making, Star Wars seem more grounded that it almost would seem weird if Vader showed up, right? And I saw that tweet. He meant it in a very positive light, by the way. Wasn't trashing comparison. And I thought about it. I was like, I don't think he's wrong. If Darth Vader showed up, I'd be like, who's the weird dude in the armor? Like, what's he doing here?
I would love it because
Yeah.
I think that's the way that the majority of the galaxy sees Vader, right? Like
that was Dan's follow-up tweet. He's like, but that's
Okay.
kind of how the Imperials view it, right?
Right. Yeah, because I think that's the thing is, if you're on Coruscant and you're kind of involved with the senator politics, like the Jedi are all normal to you, but like this monster in armor is this nightmare that shows up for most people who are like, what is that? Why is that?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's great. So yeah, Scott, great question there. I think slim right now, but it might have some place, especially, I still hold up a wild hope that, Ian McDiarmid puts on the live action Cal one more time, and this could be a show to do it. So great stuff. I want to also shout out Scott Glick's wonderful, perfect Sunday afternoon family photo and that YouTube profile picture. That is great. Good job there, Scott. What a wonderful looking family there.
I hope that Ian McDiarmid walked into a studio in London, like we saw in the Obi-Wan Kenobi doc, and just like every show creator of every Star Wars show coming up, just walk through and had him record different holographic messages.
Love that.
Speaking of the UK, let me grab this one real quick, Ken.
Yeah.
Daryl Cooper, who says, will you both be attending Celebration in London? Been watching you both for years. Would love to have the chance to meet you guys. That is very kind. The plan is indeed for us to both be at Celebration. The actual tickets to Star Wars Celebration we managed to secure. No, we just got to get those hotels and flights and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, you know how it goes. I got a wedding the next month. It's off on an island, so not Hawaii, somewhere else. Yeah, it's the realities of it. But yeah, I'm excited. I myself have never been to London, UK, Europe, anything like that. So I am very excited about the possibility. I mean, come on, I even got off my couch and finally got my passport all up and it's ready. So it's in the works. We'd love to meet a lot of you out there. We have always been blessed with a large number of European-based and UK-based fans and all this stuff. So we'd love to see it. It'd be great. So it's in the works. Me and Joseph, even, I'll tip it to even put some pressure on our buddy. Mark Ellis and I and Joseph have already had discussions about if we're over there, we might as well do some stand-up because that would be amazing. So that's on there as well. So we appreciate the question because I think we're always going to have updates this week. We'll finally let you all know when it's secure.
Yep. We definitely need to have some more discussions, but that is the plan. Thank you so much, Daryl.
Thank you, Daryl. Series of questions coming in from Anakin. Let me just read. I think the same question. Anakin Cressman checking in. Anakin, we always love to check on in here. Recently acquired one of my most wanted figures of all time. The Figure Arts Master Yoda from Revenge of the Sith is Jedi Council chair. Fig Arts, I don't know if I'm saying that right, or 6-inch figures, somewhere between Black Series and Hot Toys. Says, I'm sure you've been asked 100 times, but what are your guys' holy grails of Star Wars figures that maybe you don't have, but wish you did? Any idea on how expensive they are? Ooh, that's the real question there. Holy grail figures.
Yeah. Well, they add up. There's lots of ones that are like, okay, they're a little bit pricier. They're like $50, whatever, 60, like kind of thing. But the ones that are rare and expensive that are on my list is a couple. In like around 2013, 2014, there was a line that was kind of some legacy characters and some Rebels stuff, and there was a Jedi Temple Guard in that. And Jedi Temple Guard is just one of the coolest designs in Star Wars for me. So I want that character very much. I can't remember who or what or when it was an exclusive for, but there was an exclusive Jocasta Nu action figure, which I wanted Jocasta Nu because I love that character. But she She comes in a box. Sounds so excited, so charged. It's a you open it and you anyway. She comes with the I believe a little bit of the archives, and I'm 99% sure I'm remembering this correctly. The pedestal and the bust of Dooku's head of the Lost 20, and like accessories.
really?
That's what's put me over the moon. You got an amazing character.
Yeah.
And then you have an amazing accessory. I will sign over, blood rights, anything. Yeah, so that's those two are up there. And I have never really had my eye on wanting to get the original classic Kenner in the package, but I have found myself looking at wanting in original Kenobi in the original package. Not super picky. It's not doesn't have to be like it has to be A New Hope and it has to be this blah blah blah. Like in Empire Strikes Back card back would fine, but I that's something that's a kind of a very expensive I want.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely on my you mentioned before, but like I just wanted a Kenner Emperor's Royal Guard again, and you actually at a celebration this past May it got me one. It was real. I love you, man. Moment. I was like, oh, man, I have it over there, and it was out of the package. I don't need it in the package. I just want it again. Told the story other places many times, but like I sold all my Kenner kids, my Kenner figures as a kid at a garage sale, and then just kind of always. I don't need them to be displayed, and this is a $500 figure. I just kind of need them again. I just kind of hold them in my grubby little hands, and because of that, now the Emperor's Royal Guard crossed off that list. I did eventually get a Han original Kenner loose out of the package at like an LA or no Vegas con, I think it was when you and I were out there. Now I think it's moved on to an original Darth Vader. I did have that. I had the old push the lightsaber out of his forearm Vader. And the vinyl cape and everything. And yeah, that'd be kind of fun. You know what I mean? It's just those kind of things. As far as like saving up my allowance money, in the background I have, this is the only sideshow kind of figure I have. I was fortunate enough to get that while touring the facility. I think there's a Hoth Leia one, right? If I'm remembering one, like I think I would love to have that one so I could display that one as well.
Yeah. That is a great one.
There you go. We're saying good night to our friend Oscar Film Forecast. Sadly, got to go. Have a great night, y'all. We love our friend Oscar Film Forecast. As I said last night on Casterly Talks live stream when Oscar showed up, we don't even know if that's his real name, but Joseph and I treat it as Oscar Film Forecast.
That's on his taxes. Their taxes.
Yeah, their taxes, indeed. Thank you, Anakin, for that question there. Anakin Crespin checking in.
Okay, Ken, I think the chat might be acting up a little bit for me. It jumped back to crushes somehow. I swear I didn't scroll back to crushes.
Yeah, if you scroll down, it should work. If it doesn't, let me know.
Okay, but I got this one is a good one. Rona Rivera, thank you, Rona. Do you think Mon will have to bend her ethics and betray her friend?
Ooh. Here's what I love about this question is, we were talking about a little bit on Andor Report this week, and just some of my own feelings, like, cause love this character, Mon Mothma, love Genevieve O'Reilly back in the role, love Rebels, love the original Return of the Jedi novelization, their take on Mothma. So excited this character. I've felt that sometimes seems to be a little behind the 8-ball of what's going on. And then now we kind of, hey, that's the mask I'm wearing. I love that reveal. I love that kind of take, but I still think there's so much going around. She's stressed by what Luthen's doing. So I wonder if that's going to force her to make a mistake or make her do something, not a mistake, but make her do something a little different, especially with Saw Gerrera out there. And we know there's a feud between them, right? Saw and Mon, there's a difference in points of view, but I was kind of thinking about this other day. We haven't necessarily seen, unless there's something Rebel Rising I don't remember reading, we've never seen the big break between them. So is it something like she's like, all right, yeah, sure, Luthen, let's give this Saw guy, seems a little on edge, but let's give him a chance, and he does something, and she's like, that was against what the way I approach this, and that creates some kind of tension. That's kind of the direction I go with that question.
Yeah, I feel like it is building toward her drawing her own lines, right? Because to me, the picture in Rogue One is it feels like she says,
yeah,
war is inevitable, but I've built something democratic within this alliance. I'm not just gonna be a dictator and say Jin is right, Radis is right, we're doing this. So it feels like by the time she's officially, left the Senate, made her speech, built the alliance, that she has her like, I know how I feel. I know the sacrifices I'm willing to make and the awful things that need to be done that I'm willing to do. And I know the things I'm not doing. It's not worth it.
Right.
So I expect to see lots of storytelling of her building those principles for herself of how you do a rebellion. And this question makes me think of like, is it, she's been aware in Andor that like, I'm some of the glue, I'm financing some of this, I'm at the highest risk. Will everything I built fall if I fall? And ending up like, if Tay's kind of the bag man and either her or the bag man needs to get burned.
Yeah.
And she know Luthen to be burn the bag man. Would he that was a little bit more Radis. Burn the bag man. Would she be willing to do it? And is it that kind of thing of like, I did that and now I will never do that again? Because I also feel like I can't stop talking about that Mothma scene. I think the other power of it is like, I am really, really concerned about the rebellion causing more suffering. And Luthen kind of poked at me that was weakness. And I feel that in that scene with Tay. Tay's also like, I don't know, my politics might be too spicy for you. And a part of that power of the scene is like, I'm wearing my mask, but underneath is a dragon, and don't doubt my fire. Like, I think her wrestling with that, like, don't think because I'm careful and empathetic, don't think I'm weak.
Yeah.
That might be an interesting moral quandary for her too, of like feeling pressured to prove her commitment.
Yeah, that's a great spot. Yeah, the Saw wild card. I'm not expecting him to be, more than a couple scenes or something in this season. We'll see beyond, but yeah, just what he brings and how she ends up viewing that is going to be fun to watch there. Yeah, because again, he does his things that's going to bring down. It's interesting to hear Luthen bring up this. No, we need the fear. We need people around the galaxy to get it, that the oppression is real and it's almost unstoppable at this point. Let's try to get in front of it. And also we need the Empire to overreach and react. Where I think sometimes what Saw does and the way he does it brings unneeded attention from the Empire, brings more force than other people are prepared for, but it's a fine line. And this is what I love what the show is doing, the rebellion, the building of the rebellion. Because then you got, old General Draven over there, like, pull the trigger. You got all that kind of stuff. And you got Radis choosing the right time to fight. So, yeah, this is a great question. It just gets me thinking about all the different philosophies trying to get under one roof here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, such a great question. Thank you.
Yeah.
You got another one, Ken?
Yeah. Let me, first of all, actually, I got to open up the watermelon flavor. We're on to can number 2.
Oh boy,
number 2. Love that there. Let me. Yeah,
if not, I got one.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, this comes to us from Mario Bro. Since Kenobi this summer showed a closer relationship between Obi-Wan and Leia than I ever expected, what is your emotional canon as to why he thinks Luke is the only hope by Empire? I got some thoughts on this one, but if you want to grab it, Ken, go for it.
I will do what you did earlier. I'll just talk until I find my answer. Hey, everybody, tip your waitresses on the way out. I think there's something about what Leia might bring to the table overall that is needed in another spot, if that makes any kind of sense. Mm-hmm. That the connection he realizes not dividing up by importance, but that Luke has this trajectory is more where Luke is needed and maybe best at, and the relationship to Anakin might be more impactful. Not that it isn't with Leia, but also that if it makes any more sense, like she's got even more on her plate. Luke, your plate is killing Darth Vader. Leia, yours is keeping the rebellion alive. And that there could be at some point as Obi-Wan dies, even that he has a different view on it. And that's where I start my thoughts on Luke versus Leia in that regard.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's still emotional canon or head canon. I don't think it's explicit in Kenobi, but the Kenobi show, but I thought there was a nice touch to it, right? Of he's looking over Luke. Bale's sort of a reminder of like, there are 2 Skywalker twins and she's just as important.
Yeah.
Kenobi is so taken with Leia, reawakened by her, impressed by her, partially healed by her, I think. So it makes total sense that he would think well of her. But then Leia's journey in that show is Ken had that great YouTube essay, and I so agree with it. Of is Leia choosing what kind of leader she wants to be, and she wants to be a leader in somebody who is inspired, political, but can handle a blaster, can crawl into the vent and take care of it herself. And she starts to sort of kind of define her own path. And I think for me, it is Kenobi seeing like she has a path that she has chosen that she absolutely wants.
Yeah.
There's also an element when Kenobi tries to give her that gift of telling her a little bit about who Anakin and Padme were without telling her too much, and she takes it in, but then like looks at her parents, Bail and Bran, like I'm good. Now, in contrast to that, Obi-Wan spends about 5 minutes with Luke, and he's like, "Yes, tell me everything about my father. I want to be just like him."
Yeah.
So in a way, I feel like Luke verbally chooses,
Mm.
I want the Jedi path. That's what will give me meaning. That's what I need. And Leia is really like, I've got all these other paths. And Kenobi got to see that for himself up close and personal. So to me, that's the way I think about it. I think there's also plenty of room for, once Obi-Wan is one with the Force, I think he can see 1,000 different possibilities. And this is the way that the Skywalker twins can work together.
Yeah, no, I love that take on it, and love the discussion. It's one of those things that it's fun to climb into, because it's one of those things that the cynical real answer is, of course, well, George didn't have that part planned out yet. But I love that. I love that we stumble into a different kind of conversation as the story unfolds, including Return of the Jedi. And I love the idea of Yoda kind of going, I don't know, sister might be the one, and Kenobi going, no. I love those kind of open-ended discussions and debates in story and around it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Love it there. Following up here, I love this comment from Mel and Jelly, are my two favorite Star Wars uncles. I'll take that.
I'll take it. Let me tell you about the time I bought a pan and scan VHS.
Yeah, we got Brent Bums standing by. If they ever did a Luke Skywalker animated series, would you want Mark in the booth or see another actor take crack at the character like James Arnold Taylor rather than Ewan for Kenobi? That is a great question. I'll start with this idea. Mark Hamill, of course, one of the best voiceover performers of all time, without a doubt, and he did voice Luke in the Forces of Destiny appearance, and they tried to tweak it up a little bit, but it was definitely an older man kind of playing his younger version of himself, and have to acknowledge that, but it was still just fun, especially at that time, 2017, Forces of Destiny, to hear and see Mark Hamill back in that part of his character's life. So I'd be willing to explore it, because I think he just knows the character. Obviously, Mando and Book of Boba Fett, Reese Beecher, all those kind of things aside, I would, if it's an animated series, I'd be open to finding, a new performer to take on the role full time in animated only. I'd be open to it.
Yeah, it's always such a hard question, because my knee-jerk answer is yes, I want the original actors to do everything forever. I'm on such a Christopher Lee Dooku kick. I have Dooku fever right now. We were lucky to get some screeners for Tales of the Jedi. There will be no spoilers, but it's not a spoiler that Dooku's in it. And obviously, listening to the amazing Corey Burton and thinking about that relationship, that he's made Dooku his own in the way so many Clone Wars actors have made their characters their own. So I think for me, if it was announced tomorrow, it would be about when it was set. If it was sort of picking up from like Book of Boba Fett, only a couple years after Return of the Jedi era, I'd be like, yeah, maybe let this be the Clone Wars type thing, where a different actor gets associated with the character. If it was around the time of like the that Rise of Kylo Ren comic that I love, when it's clear he has a functioning Jedi order, it's small, but Jedi are out doing missions, and 5 years before Ben's betrayal or whatever. I don't know if that's the exact timeline of the comic, but
Yeah.
if it's a little bit of like, all right, I'm over the hill,
Yeah.
I'm Jedi Master Luke, and I got a lot of people to take care of, and I'm
That'd be great.
serious and serene and kind, but I'm also just a little grumpy here and there. Then I'd kind of be down with it with Mark Hamill still doing it, because I think the deepening of his voice with age,
Yeah.
I think would match the character well at that age.
And if I'm being honest, this wasn't part of the question. This is a great question. If I'm being honest, at this point, my Star Wars fandom, that's the era I want more Luke content in now, right? Shadow of the Sith really kind of highlighted that. Young Ben Solo, all that kind of stuff. So back in the day, remember, we used to always talk about here in ForceCenter of Luke Skywalker and Lor San Tekka going around the galaxy looking for artifacts. I still would love to see that. Love to hear it. There's a lot of great stuff with Luke after Return of the Jedi in the 5-year range. Oh man, that Luke as a teacher with a functioning school, Ben Solo aside, the ominous tones hanging over their relationship. I'd absolutely love that.
I'm getting chills. There's a Clone Wars animated series level of possibility there, right? Like, for people who are around the right age, when I guess the age to be a little cynical, right? When the prequels wrapped up and the Clone Wars, like, okay, great, we're gonna watch Anakin fall to the dark side for however many years, and then look how wrong that was. In my opinion, how rich the development was. Luke had a functioning school. Ben, I'm sure, was out doing actual Jedi stuff, or certainly could have been. There's so much rich storytelling. Yeah, now I'm just getting excited for the possibility of that show, because I think there's so much storytelling to be had there.
Yeah, look, and yeah, no spoilers. I mean, we got to be careful. There's certain embargoes. There's no social embargo, but I think there's review embargoes. But yeah, Tales of the Jedi, I thought was excited going in, and now having seen the 6 episodes, we're gonna do a review and discussion on it. It's a winning format, and I think even in that regard, I think seeing Luke in that time period on little animated shorts would work for me.
Yep. Yeah, I want to respect the embargoes. So I think, it's not a full review embargo, but the social embargo, we can tweet about it. So I'll say exactly 280 characters worth of. I really loved it. It got into some great stuff. It is obviously, as everybody who's seen the trailer, it is Clone Wars style in some ways, but also breaking some new ground. And I'll leave it there.
I'll shorten it to one word. Dooku.
The Yoda review. Dooku.
Count Dooku. Great stuff. Love that question there. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. And I wanted to pop up this follow-up from Rona to her own question about Mon Mothma. Rona says, we are all worried she will be betrayed. If she has no choice, frame her husband or Tay. I bet she will. Now, I know some people like staring Perrin, but I'd be super okay with.
Yeah,
yeah. So great thoughts. Just wanted to share that follow up.
Awesome.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Any other questions jump out to you here, or?
Oh yeah. Here's another one from Social Tortoise. Shall I pop it up?
Yeah, I think we're gonna pop the same one.
Ooh, okay. If you could ask George Lucas one thing, what would it be? I think we did have this question not that long ago, and I only remember partially what I said. Yeah. So I think I have 2 thoughts. I think I have a jokey answer, and then if I could more interview him, what I'd try to ask him. So do you have thoughts, or do you want me to jump in, Ken?
My jokey answer is always a Sabaro reference. I'll do that till the day I die. I got no problem with that. My one James Lipton sit down question would be, if you could do it all again, would you? But would you start follow up? Would you start with episode 1?
Wow. And you know what? If you ask that at somewhere like Star Wars Celebration, like the audience would just applaud for the question, and Lucas might not even get a chance to answer, because it is such a powerful James Lipton question where you can feel the audience go, oh. That's really great.
Mm.
My joke question is, I would really ask him about the flannel plaid. Like, honestly, it's
Yeah,
cozy, but are you the kind of person that you like? It's kind of it's your uniform, it's your armor. Are
yeah,
you? Is it because you're the person like I just want 10 of the thing I like in the closet, and that's what goes on that day, or is there something else?
yeah.
Uh, I'd ask him about that.
I've entered that phase of my life. You mentioned this. I have 15 of these in my closet right now. This is all I wear nowadays. I gave up.
Yeah, like once a year, it's time for 6 more plain black shirts at Target for around the house.
Yeah.
The serious question I'd ask him is how the philosophy of the Jedi impacts his day-to-day life.
Mhm.
He's
Mm,
talked
mm.
eloquently before about how there's some great interview clips about how uh, Star Wars is giving these ideas of how to treat one another and how to conduct yourself in the world, and it's heightened to laser swords and in fantasy, but the message is like be kind,
Yeah, yeah.
step up, treat one another well, all that kind of thing. But I'd be really curious to see, like, if he ever goes through his day and he's like, I was
Mm,
about to do something, but I should really try to slow down and do it the Jedi way.
mm, mm. Yeah, yeah. That's great. That's like, yeah. Do you take your own advice? That'd be awesome.
Maybe an unfair question to ask
Yeah,
creator, but I think of it sometimes. I'm like, I like the moral of this thing I've written.
yeah.
Am I doing that? I should try to do that.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, he's just a fascinating human, man. I mean,
Mm,
not here to put anyone on a pedestal. We're all human beings, but it's not even that. It's just and like we know people have met him. I passed him once at the Grove. Some of my friends are friends with his son Jed. I'm fascinated by o- old dad in socks and shorts, and he's George Lucas. Yeah. So it's fascinating.
yeah, absolutely great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and LQ says nothing wrong with a wardrobe full of black clothes. Absolutely. I am engaged to a goth, so a lot of black clothes in our house. And then Joseph, you at what point? This is a personal question. At what point did you kind of transition into? You know what? Black jeans and a t-shirt. It's kind of and red shoes. That's kind of what I know you as. I've always
Yeah.
is that something that was always kind of your look vibe,
I always
other than
liked
the backwards Guns N' Roses hat?
it's black and red, so it's a very gothy
Yeah,
Darth Maul hat.
yeah.
Um, Darth Maul's a goth, sure, why not? Um, yeah, in around 2009, 2010, I kind of had a personal. I'm gonna be the way I want to be. I
Mm,
think I had a little bit of like, I don't want people to think I'm putting on airs by changing my look, and I was like,
mm.
I want to do these things, and I'm doing them.
Yeah, love it. Okay, asked and answered. Love it.
Yeah.
It's I've gone through so many different looks. I look like a divorced dad late for soccer practice far too long. I used to describe
Yeah.
myself, my clothing was an off-duty FBI agent. Then I went through because of the job owned 14 or 15 suits at one point, owned 0 right now.
Mm.
And yeah, even then this came out of my friend Eric Bass from the band Shinedown. He was out in LA for about 5 days. This is when we were doing the GPA thing. And after about the third day, I said, every day I see you in a white shirt with kind of the low cut top and black jeans and white shoes. It's every day. And he's like, yeah, I just decided at one point, this is what I wear. When you see me, I look like this. And no one questions it. I was like, I'm going to do that.
When you see me, I look like this is a great line.
Brian Ward asked George for $10,000.
The specificity. The specificity.
If I had $1,000,000. Love that there. Love that there. Cool. Great question coming in. We'll be here about 20 more minutes. If you have a question
Yeah.
to get in, let us know. You guys have been great so far. Hanging out. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Jaylee has a response to the animation thing. How about a 2D Macquarie inspired Han, Luke, and Leia series post ROTJ Return of the Jedi? That's really fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Short answer, yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Macquarie inspiration on Rebels was great, but a 2D version is fascinating. to think about. And I think if people are intrigued by the original trilogy trio in that era, Princess and the Scoundrel is so fascinating. That novel, if anybody hasn't read it, it is absolutely the story of Han and Leia's wedding and honeymoon, but it also just feels like Return of the Jedi just kept rolling. And there are elements of that story of like, great, we told the story of Han and Leia's wedding and honeymoon, which was fabulous. I don't mean to rush through it. It was great. But like, just keep going.
Yeah.
With the relationship between all three of them, and a series that did that would be amazing.
Love that. No, that'd be great. That's great. Great thought there. I got this question here from Joshua Bernard Repilot. When do you think we would see Warwick Davis in a live action TV show, a Star Wars show, I should say? Willow coming up soon. I'm excited for that. I think I don't. Andor's playing it differently. We know. Like I've given up some hopes that I'll see Infus Nest in this series, right? Even season 2. I just don't think that would happen. It's towards Rogue One and the story next year, the next season, jumps year by year, and a character like Infus Nest is around, or a character like Weasel is around. It makes sense for what's going on in Andor planet to planet. So that'd be a good spot. Otherwise, it'll be, somewhere else down the line, and it's a different, the Ahsoka series. Filoni has a special place in his heart for Warwick Davis. I could see that as well. Not necessarily as Weasel, but as some other character. Yeah,
I think Weasel and Andor. Let's see if we can get that shirt taken down from TeePublic. But I think Weasel and Andor is my answer too. Skeleton Crew would be really amazing, right? They've talked about it having this Spielberg vibe. Obviously, Warwick Davis is of that era of filmmaking. Man, I would love to see him in. I'd even love to see him in like a couple episodes of Mandalorian, right? It would be great. It would be great to see him in like a Grief Karga level role. Not necessarily that, but like not covered up in armor or makeup or anything. Of just getting to really dig in and have some serious face-to-face time. With I guess not face-to-face with Din Djarin unless he's really taking the helmet off. But some quality time would be great.
It'd be fun because I think he's a really captivating performer, and I think his work is Wicked is celebrated, but also at times I think underrated, right? For just what this 11-year-old kid did, pinch hitting for another performer. Was it Kenny Baker or Jack Purvis? I can't remember. Who was sick that day. So yeah, and I think Weasel was that. It was fun in Phantom Menace. It was like, you kind of back then maybe less people picked up on it. I mean, he was already been Willow by that point, but now I think Solo, when he pulled that mask off, for me it was an applause break point in my audiences on a first few viewings of Solo. But I think more than just he's so good in all the other roles. It was fun to see him rise as Skywalker for a brief second. I would love to see him get something 2 or 3 episodes live action. Face, not like you said, not costume, not this, not that. His face front and center. Be a lot of fun. He deserves it.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah. So there you go. Any other questions? I'm pulling up here.
Sorry, I'm if I see Mon Mothma, I go for it.
As you should.
This is from Brent Bum standing by.
Great.
I'm seeing Mothma as a Palp's unintentional apprentice, Public Mask as the do-gooder senator, taking a lesson from the Emperor, stone in my hand, missing the knife at your neck. Thoughts? I'd love that. I love how clearly and bitterly she said that. I learned it from Palpatine, the stone in my hand, missing the knife at your neck. Yeah, so I love that idea if she is saying like, okay, if she's a person who's maybe had to play sort of politics of a certain kind for a lot of her life, which it feels like, and then realizes like, oh, this is a different game and I don't quite know how to play it in order to serve the galaxy. I need to watch how he manipulates people, because I think that she's probably somebody who would prefer to be a straight shooter, right?
Yeah.
And there's that time where like, well, if you're just a straight shooter with the wrong people, even though your intentions are good, you are going to be manipulated. And it won't help you, and it won't help the people you're trying to help. So to have her go like, what is her motives are still pure, but her strategy needs to change. And look at, I'm going to take some of his strategy, but not his motivation.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it wouldn't be crazy if she emerges as a Sith for one season, right? Now, no, there's something about, hear me out here, of this character Mothma. I factor in the Revenge of the Sith deleted scenes, even though they're not in the film. You know, it's just, we know that's part of the story. The delegation of 2000, and her being, you know, this headstrong younger senator, and just 15, years, 13 years on from that, having to play a different game. And that, you can be cynical about that as you grow up, right? You take out, you want to take on the world, and you realize that doesn't always work. It's sometimes needed, sometimes it does work, other times you don't. And you can look at that with a little bit of a downtrodden kind of feeling, like, oh man, I'm sacrificing part of myself. I don't think that is. I think it's just an evolution. I think Mothma seeing that, because again, she's not, in my mind, I don't, unless you think I'm wrong here, Joseph, she's not looking at Sidious. She's looking at Palpatine, the politician. Palpatine, what he did, and she knows that truth, but she doesn't know maybe the truth about him at this point. And seeing that, how did this bleeper do it, and how do I adapt those tactics to mine? Like you said, I think it's a correct and just inevitable evolution for all of us as we grow older, and I think that's part of how I see it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I love that picture of, what does she mean by stone in my hand, missing the knife at your neck, and being like, yep, a lot of politicians who want to be chancellor really bad are going to hold on to it any way they can. So of course he's doing that. And of course I'm not cool with it, but oh, wow. He had this whole other thing planned to reshape this, Yeah. Fascinating stuff. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, I knew we had missed a super chat back there. Matt Coles, thank you for super chat. Says top 3 of your Star Wars list short films. Sorry, with a crying, laughing at us emoji. He knows. I think Matt knows that Star Wars lists, other than Star Wars Ranked, which is a different kind of discussion and celebration, actual lists can sometimes stress us out. One, we don't want to turn a movie and TV talk into sports talk. I'm a big sports fan, but I think it kind of can be against the art itself. But that's in spirit of Matt's fun question. Top 3 Star Wars films. I'll go there, Joseph. But right now, and that's the thing, because my list will change tomorrow. But the top 3, what are you putting in? We talked about this a little bit the other day on one of the shows.
Yeah. No, go ahead if you got it.
Well, and I'd answer. It's probably fresh in some listeners' mind. Like for me, like Rise of Skywalker is the thing I put on right now, and I proudly and defiantly love that movie. Compared to other people's thoughts on it, but it's because it just scratches so many Star Wars itches for me, and big music moments, little character moments, comedy, action, pulp, adventure, gothic horror, all these things, and it's just one that if I'm going to sit down, I got 2 hours, I'm going to be doing some work, and I want a Star Wars movie on. That has remained in the top spot for a while for me. And then Solo right now is in that list. And then I said it before recently, The Phantom Menace, which 1999, 23-year-old Ken would be like, what happened to you, man? I'd be like, I started to understand. And I just love watching that film.
Yeah, that's great. And I think I'm in a similar place. I think if I just went films, and it's totally personal. It isn't about an analysis of what is the best constructed, what is the most important. It's total what I feel like watching. Empire Strikes Back will just always be close to my heart because it was so fundamental to my growing up, and it helps me through rough times, to go through rough times with Luke and Han and Leia in that film, and Yoda. Oh man, Yoda fighting R2 for the lamp. Come on.
Yeah.
Then Attack of the Clones, because Attack of the Clones, for me, I've really enjoyed this 20th anniversary celebration year. It's the Obi-Wan focus, the noir adventure. It is, to me, in some ways, the most bonkers, just total. It's a mashup of philosophy and pulp. It has the spine of don't raise a fist to a problem, first try to negotiate. Like the plot is Padme trying to stop a war, and then it's just off the wall. Like you're listing genres, right? It is a noir adventure. It is a weird, arena, battle. it's all these things, and then a 6 foot tall man fights a 2 foot tall computer puppet, and it's just so Star Wars. And then the third for me would be Solo. The Solo also is like, I can sit down and enjoy it. Is just a fast, fun adventure, but it's also just got the heart of in these big issues of Star Wars. And I'm wanting to do a Solo rewatch soon because I feel like it is so in lockstep with Andor. Maybe not in like the tone, but in terms of the nature of the galaxy and what's happening in it.
Oh yeah, even the scene at the end of this past week's episode with good old Keith getting sentenced there had Coronet City vibes all day for me. And yeah, I'm with you. Solo's a different vibe, different tenor, without a doubt. But I think it's absolutely addressing the same issues in the galaxy.
Hans got harassed by a trooper on the way to Space 7-Eleven, I'm sure, as well.
Great stuff there.
Yeah. So very good one. I fell down. I'm looking forward to more questions here. Oh, this is a very good one. I want to make sure to get to from Porter Quartian.
Love it.
Porter Quartian says, do you think we will see any Imperials join the rebellion this season? I feel like we need a Kahless type turn for somebody. A hot Kahless.
Sorry, I cut you up, but this season's a big question mark for me.
Yeah, I'm not super sold on this season because we're now at the over halfway through mark, and Cyril is still fuming. So I think Cyril's got a way to go before his fate is sealed. And if his story ends this season, I think it's not ending well, is my instinct.
Yeah.
I'm really fascinated with Dedra Miro, and I think Dedra is a possibility because I think that the way that she understands the ideology of and tactics of the underdog is really intriguing to me. That she, like, in that line of that's the way I would do it. When she's talking about like it's all of these little different attacks from different places that they don't think we're going to connect, but I did. And we don't know her personal story. So many characters in Andor, we're seeing the relationships that motivate them. We don't know, other than I want to do well at my job and I don't like this a-hole Blevin.
Yeah.
What's her personal motivation? The fact that we don't know that yet makes me feel like there's a lot of story to be had that could go that way. I think there's a reason that she's doing this, and I think it's either going to come out that she has a reason to be sympathetic to the rebellion, or she has a reason to really want to excel as an Imperial for person. And it might just be personal. She might just be a portrait of a person who's like, this is the task put in front of me, and all I care about is validating myself. And if validation means crushing the rebellion, I'll be the best at it. That might be the portrait of the character. But I feel like since we don't know the backstory, it's a really interesting question with all of her understanding of the rebellion's perspective.
Yeah, I love what you're saying there. I'm on record, and I'll put down chips on the betting table right now that Cyril Karn is a lesson in making the wrong choices and letting certain things fuel you until you may be your own doom or destruction. I don't see him suddenly turning. It could happen, right? The possibilities always exist. That's what we love celebrating here. What the stories are telling you. There's something about Dedra Miro that I agree with you. It could just be this is what she does. This is her job. This is what she believes in. But there's something about the connection. And you keep bringing this idea of like she understands the underdog. She is one. I watched that last episode again yesterday, and unless I'm mistaken, she is like the only woman in the room. How real world is that? A meeting, look around your meetings at your office, and there's often only one or two women, and she's an underdog there. She's got Blevin biting at her, trying to take her down. She's trying to get it's played for this weird hero moment when Partagaz is like, you win this round, and the music swells, and you're like, yay, go destroy the rebellion. Can that transition into a change? I don't know. It still might be a confirmation, which could be tragic. It could be saying, if you only opened your heart and soul, you could see this, and you see that you're connected to this ideology that the rebellion has. You could be part of it. But if you're not ready to, or for whatever reasons you're held up on it, that could be part of the story, or she makes some kind of turn. Callus was like that too. Callus, I thought the turn of Hot Callus was a great job, and the connection with Zeb and the lesson there. It's some of the deeper stuff in Star Wars. So I haven't seen it quite yet, but I think it's possible that we could be if of anyone right now. Maybe it's part of Gas. Maybe part of Gas is like, thesis please to Mothma, and she wins.
Rebellion, please. Yeah, no, I love what you're saying, and I think even the end of that victory scene for her is Partagas, who understands this machine, saying victory it puts you in the crosshairs, not the character. So watch your back. It ends on a moment where we are still sympathizing for her and worried about her. And I think you're really right to point out, because you had brought it up on Andor Report, and then I went and watched it that evening. Yet, unless I'm missing something, she is the only woman in that room. And you're right that to point that out, because when I say we don't know what her motivation is, like that could be part of it. Of just she's raised in this system. There's no reason to question it. The Empire is correct. It's our society, and then these people are attacking our society, and everybody wants to hold you back. Nobody wants you to excel. Everybody has always got it out for you. You succeed and thrive in the system you were born in. And maybe she hasn't got to a point that she has had to question it yet.
Yeah. And she's winning some of these rounds, which is, like I said, I every week I'm like, all right, don't mention it, but I have to. It's just part of what's intriguing about her character. I'm rooting for her. And next week, I think she's taken over the Morlana sector. We're probably going to see her face to face with some of the people we do root for a little more easily. It's gonna be a fun confrontation and a fun thing.
Speaking of fun confrontations, we got you have a question lined up?
I do, but what do you got? Go for it.
No, you go for it. You go for it.
Pablo, check it in. Hey, Pablo, love that picture. Mando on a couch. Do you think Andor could lead to more shows focusing on less seen sides of the galaxy? Maybe Chiss, crime syndicate type stuff. Payday Pepe, which I believe is Pablo's username on some of the other things. Yeah, I think it could. Look, Andor isn't necessarily for everyone. Even I admitted this past week, kind of going, it's midnight. I kind of don't want an intensely whispered show with a different kind of ending. And I know I've seen some challenges out there to it, but I think you're looking, if you're Disney and you're looking at a lot of the conversation, I think you might have a little more confidence to try this. We're outside the Mando verse, which is a Filoni and Favreau / Filoni led world. So yeah, as far as I could see that, I personally wouldn't be too excited about Chiss stuff, but I love, and we might be talking about comics here in a second with another question that came in. I love Kira as a character. I love her return. I haven't been in love with the Crimson Dawn stuff in the comics, but only because I just wish I had a show about it. So if you could do that, Emilia Clarke as Kira in Solo was great to me. I think she can even go deeper with that role. And I think you could that Andor vibe, she could carry that. She knows how to do that.
Yeah. No, I haven't read Crimson Reign yet, but I did read the War of the Bounty Hunters, just the 5-issue main run that is the Kira reveal, and Kira really leads that comic. I would love a Crimson Dawn series set really at any time with Emilia Clarke. I do think that there is I think that Andor and Time are both opening up more exploration. I mean, I think a thing that I try to remember is like Obi-Wan just came out to us, but it's been in the pipeline almost since the takeover, right? The takeover, since some
people reviewed it that,
since that was not a Freudian slip, just poor choice of words. That was my gin and soda. Obi-Wan's been in the pipeline. Solo had been in the pipeline, right? Favreau and Filoni have said on panels, like, we started small with Mandalorian to make it sure it worked, but the plan was always to expand out into the galaxy, into the known galaxy, the legacy characters. Filoni has said fans love the connected galaxy. They've been approaching it that for years, and I always want to respect people's different opinions, but I see the take of like Disney's afraid, so they pivot to legacy characters. And for me, what I see is they've had the creators and the company have had the plan to tell these stories of legacy characters for a really, really long time. And I think what's happening with Andor, for the people who are receiving it well, is there's a real hunger for new and different. Let's dive into the corners of
Mhm.
Star Wars. Let's go even deeper into pockets that we haven't explored. And I'm
Yeah.
sure they're seeing that.
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting to see what Skeleton Crew is like. I think Ahsoka will probably feature, legacy characters and surprises because it's already in motion, and Filoni has stated explicitly that that's the way
Yeah.
he sees the galaxy.
Yeah.
But I think definitely whatever shows are being talked about, pitched, developed right now are being influenced by the response to, yeah, let's go into different pockets of the galaxy and go deeper,
Yeah.
because that's always been a possibility and it's getting a positive critical response.
Well, I am now pitching my spin-off series, The Mods, and we're just going to ride around on those customized grab scoots, and everybody can enjoy it.
And no one could accuse them of selling out, since several people were vocal in their dislike for the mods.
There you go. Love that. Love that.
It's a very good one. Very, very good one.
Right.
Okay. I know that I had. Oh, there it is. Here's another one here. Brian Tiller, what is both of your favorite music theme or piece of music, movies and TV shows included? Ooh, I think for me, in my series of sometimes basic answers tonight, nothing's ever going to beat the Binary Sunset. The Force theme is, the central to my understanding and love of Star Wars and sometimes life. I really have been enjoying the Obi-Wan theme. I've got the Obi-Wan soundtrack, and that theme sneaks up on you. And I've had some times where it really gets stuck in my head. I was lucky enough to see John Williams live at the Hollywood Bowl, and that was magical under the stars to hear that. So that's one real classic one, and one newer one that is also a real classic, because as Williams keeps saying, like, I always meant to write Benny a theme, and I didn't.
Yeah. Man, I was my favorite piece of music, movie or TV shows included, is Billy Get Your Guns by Bon Jovi from Young Guns 2, from the soundtrack. No? Okay. Is that? Is that in the spirit? Okay. I think for me, I'd say this. I'm really always bad at the music. It's something I engage with later and then love it. So I had an experience today. Here's a true story. Again, I talked at the top of the show. I was driving out the 210 freeway, heading east to go pick up some Chihuahua meds, and Princess Leia's theme came up, and it was what a timing, what an amazing story. On the way back, I'm being such a music fan and everything. I don't listen to scores in my car, or if I'm going for a walk or I'm working out, right? I just don't. I need rock music or something like that. Or right now I'm on such a Lady Gaga kick. I'm playing all her songs every day. But driving home, Jedi Steps and the finale from Force Awakens came up, and I love that tune. It's like been my alarm ringer until Grace said, "You've got to turn that off because you're ruining Star Wars for me." You're waking me up early with that. And it started playing, and I went to do the skip, right? Because I need to sing. I need Traveling Wilburys or something. And I went to skip, and then like the part of the song that's Rey's theme starts to hit, and I just stopped. I pulled back, and I love Yoda's theme. I love John Williams' work in Revenge of the Sith. I think overall still his best. Padme's Ruminations, the war stuff at the beginning. Love all that stuff. I love the classic themes. Man, I gotta tell you, Rey's theme time and time again is proven to be a piece of Star Wars music that I can't turn away from. And I listened to the whole song, and it goes into all the other themes. It's the finale track, right? So you're gonna hit everything else. But man, that struck me today. Racing back with Chihuahua meds in hands. It took me back to 2015, but it also it's something I love to revisit. Rise of Skywalker, everything. Just such a timeless piece of music, and it's new, and that's what happens. The new that you might struggle with becomes the standard very quickly.
Yeah, Rey's theme at the beginning of Force Awakens, just so beautiful. Last one I'll throw out there is, of course, a Chicken in the Pot with the correct low voice of Lulilo Primarch on the deluxe solo album.
Love that. Love that there. We got Anakin Crespin checking back in here. Favorite Star Wars book and comic this year, 2022. Loving Shadow of the Sith right now, and I highly recommend the Visions one-shot comic that released on Wednesday. It's incredible. P.S. My girlfriend Miranda says she loves you guys. Miranda, as they say at rock shows, we love you too. Cheers to that. I'll start this, Joseph, by saying favorite Star Wars book this year is Princess and the Scoundrel. Was looking at it today on the shelf and was like, that's one of the books I might just reread on my own again. Love that one. I'll start with books and I'll let you answer that one.
Yeah, Shadow of the Sith was up there. I loved spending that quality time with Luke and Lando and learning more about Rey's parents. And the climax of that book sounds like the title of a David Bowie song that we had a lot of fun singing. But in case anybody hasn't read it, I'm not going to sing the David Bowie song. Yeah. So that was way up there. But Princess and the Scoundrel was next level to me. It was just really, as I said before, it was like Return of the Jedi continued. Some of the scenes with Han and Leia are like, that is just straight out of some deleted scene from a movie that didn't get released in 1987. And yet, because it is a novel, it is also able to really spend time in their heads and really deal with all of the various things that would be going through their heads in that time period.
Yeah, love that. I'm going to continue answering this question. I'm going to shout out our buddy Mark Riley, friend of the show.
Hey,
my day of work with some wonderful Star Wars folks. Hi, everyone. Ken, you should listen to more Star Wars music while driving. I did the trench run on the 405 the other day. Absolutely. That would work because I still, even now at 46, sometimes if I get on an on ramp, especially at night when the freeway is a little more open, I will pretend I'm in an X-wing or a Y-wing or a.
Yeah. I don't know if I can do that because I would be so nervous that Biggs would be getting taken out behind me.
I do that all the time. Love that there. Finishing up the question, their favorite comic this year. Funny, today I just caught up with my current stack. I finished it. I'm also now a month behind already. I have to go to Earth 2 in Sherman Oaks now to do that. But my favorite comics this year, I really have been loving the Han Solo and Chewie comic. The Obi-Wan stuff's really good. The bigger series are taking their big swings and doing their things. It's all good. But there's something about that Han and Chewie series that really has done a great job of catching and capturing the middle ground between Solo, the beginning of the relationship, and where we pick up in A New Hope. And it's finding a good balance, and it has some pep, it has some zip to it, and I've just been enjoying it. And I have admittedly struggled with some of the comics. Overall, some of it's me, some of it's the comics, some of it's a combination of both. They're all, hey, it's great to have Star Wars every week, but it's not hitting me in the ways the comics used to be honest. But the Han Solo and Chewie one absolutely has. I've been loving it.
Yeah, I haven't read a ton. I've been having a hard time getting caught up on everything I want to read, and it isn't a comic that came out this year. I don't think. I think I'm that far behind. But like I said, the War of the Bounty Hunters, just the main 5 issues, that was really a revelation. I read it on a plane on my way to Portland recently for that film festival that I've been talking about, and it was great because I just read all 5 in a row, and I think part of it was that I liked the comic a lot more than I was expecting to. And because of all of the one-shots and the tie-ins, I thought it was going to be one of the kind of comic experiences that I had a lot when I was younger of like, you can't really get this story. I was surprised that, Boba Fett's journey is clear. This is a complete story. You can see where you jumps off into these other comics. But I really loved it. It really lined up with the Boba Fett that is growing and evolving by the time of his television show. It was great to see Kira and Kira's game and her goal. And I really, really enjoyed it much more than I was expecting to.
Love it. Great answer.
Yeah.
Great answer. We are almost done here, but we got a big question super chat coming in from our pal Ronan, who always does this in the nick of time. We appreciate it there. So, and Anakin follows it up with, Han and Chewie consistently great every month. One of my favorites for sure. Yeah, there you go. I'm not crazy. Any other question jump out to you, Joseph? Then I'll go to this Ronan one.
I just wanted to shout out this lovely comment from Jay Lee, longtime subscriber, first time watching live. Thanks for hosting one of the only safe havens from the fandom menace types that plague every corner of Star Wars online community. It means a lot. Thank you very much for joining us and for the great questions, and for everybody whose questions we're maybe not going to get to this time. There's so many great questions. Thank you all for joining us, and thank you for making it a really, really fun and positive community. I love doing this because I love talking about Star Wars out loud by myself. I love talking about it with Ken, but I really love doing it here live where I can see all of your comments and thoughts and answers to the questions as well. So thank you all.
No, we appreciate that. We say it a lot when we can. You guys make this. What Joseph and Jennifer and I began in 2015. It only happens because of you all, not just listening but reacting and knowing the vibe and connecting with the vibe and knowing where we stand on things. A lot of the folks that you're mentioning there, Jaylee, we just don't agree with on a lot of levels outside of Star Wars too. So it's nice to have you all here. You make it. Even in our Discord, I'll admit there was a dust up in our Discord over this past week. There was a little dust up. There was a little debate happened. I had to step in, get a little grumpy. And you know what? It didn't stick around. The vibe remained solid, and everyone shook hands, and we're all good. And that doesn't happen in a lot of other spaces.
No.
I like to say, or like to think that we might set the tone, but really setting the tone does not maintain the tone. You all do out there. So we appreciate all of you checking in. Except for Mark Riley. That is the biggest...
I just want to know if he succeeded at the trench run or if his car just impacted on the surface. That's terrible.
Knowing Mark, he succeeds all the time. There you go. We got time left. We got to get this. This is a great question, though, Joseph. Look at this question. Okay, says Ronan. It's Space Devil's Night on Coruscant. You can toilet paper one house. Where you going? And Joseph's got his excellent. Hold on, I got to bring this down here. There you go. There you go. New profile picture. I want to say I'd TP Sheev's crib, but honestly, I think I'm going to Edie Carnes' apartment. Oh my gosh, that'd be great. What is this TP saying? Happy Halloween to everyone and smash that like button. Thank you, Ronan. Your generous super chats are always great. We love them. It helps keep the show going. That's true. But beyond that, we just love your vibe around here as well. Halloween, Space Devil's Night. Who you TPing on Coruscant, specific to Coruscant, right?
Yeah. No, I mean that's hard. I mean, Masamita, but I think that long Chagrian tongue would come out, and the Grand Vizier is also one in the long list of characters in Andor that is being made to feel truly frightening.
Yep.
So I might be a little frightened to TP Masamitas. I think most of the senators probably have, places. Orn Frita is maybe it, but this is the one I'd go for. Senator Noah Jabel, the senator in the Rogue One meeting, who is really pouring cold water. There's a couple, Jasper as well. But Noah Jabel's the one who's just pouring cold water on everything. A Death Star. This is nonsense. I want to TP his Senate apartment, and I want him to walk out and go, refresher tissue. This is nonsense.
I love this. I love this. I actually one of the only kids that TP'd his own house as a kid. A junior high church night where we were at one house and my mom was hosting an event at her house, and my mom attacked with her kids that she was chaperoning, attacked the house that we were all staying over here. So we let it attack back, and I led them. I'm a turncoat. I led them to my mom's house, my mom and dad's house. We broke a window flinging wet TP at my own house. So I love this question. Here's what I would go with. I would TP the Outlander Club. Here's why. I just shared my experience. I don't know any other answer other than Outlander Club, because I've got to assume they showed up and they're pushing out the mom and pop small diners like Dexter. And I got to imagine I'm on Dexter's side. And I got to imagine at some point Dexter says, I could use a little help. Outlander Club's taking my business. So I'm going to go TP the Outlander Club right when it closes. I'm sure it closes like 4 a.m. and opens at like 10 a.m. Right in that window, I'm going to go send a message from your buddy Dexter.
And now I'm imagining Anakin there taking it really seriously, pulling down the toilet paper and saying, who did this? Tell me.
Tell me. Jedi business. Yeah. Nothing makes the point like a little wet toilet paper. Yeah, that's what I did.
How big your rolls are.
Oh, there you go. All right. I think we did it. I think we did it. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with all of you here. I've got to go feed chihuahuas and water plants. It's that kind of Friday night around these parts. But Joseph, any final words from you on the October live stream?
Oh, this has just been an absolutely fun mix of good, deep questions, being excited about Andor, looking toward the future, and silly fun. How could we end better than Dexter Jetster talking about toilet paper?
Yeah, we absolutely can't say enough about all you guys making this fun for us. So we're on out of here. We are getting on out of here. Oh, the seltzer's starting to hit. Programming update. We got a new Databank Dive this Sunday. Go ahead and catch the Andor review if you haven't had a chance as we build towards episode 8. And then, yes, next week we'll have our deep dive discussion into Tales of the Jedi. Yes, some people are tweeting out their thoughts on social because they can. We want to be careful, but it's a lot of fun. 6 episodes, not one of them more than 17 minutes, 10 minutes for the smallest one, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. So good, so fun. Love the format. Lots to talk about, so look for that. We're on out here. One little plug I will do, because I can. Hey, next week I will be in Seattle with Mark Ellis. Come see us at the Crocodile if you're up in the Pacific Northwest, Seattle. Good rock club. We'll be doing some comedy there. It's been a lot of fun to perform for many of you, and a lot of ForceCenter fans do come out. So appreciate that. Joseph, I want to let people know about what you got cooking on YouTube channel, your updated Patreon page, because very soon you will be seeing Mark Ellis's and I's face on a short you shot.
Yeah, I have actually been seeing your face earlier today as I work on editing this thing. So I'm working on some more short film, working on some other fun creative projects. I kind of expanded my Patreon. It used to just kind of cover my podcast Obsessed, but now I'm really interested in using it to do a lot of the different creative things that I'm interested in, and trying to use some of the skills I've picked up over the years doing lots of different things. So if you're interested in checking that out, you can go to patreon.com/Joseph Scrimshaw. And I'm going to be doing a lot of YouTube stuff as well. So I'm putting out more comedy stuff. Got a couple different things up now. And next week, there will be a fun new spooky comedy short coming on my YouTube channel. So check that out.
Check it out. All right. That's it for real, friends. We're out of here. See you next time here on